Listen to the words of the man with the rifle in his hand. Don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear. It's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker and Adrian Wiley on the 1787 Radio Network. Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of Hawaii, Lisbon, Portugal, Rome, Italy, and Moscow. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, Hernando County, Orange County's favorite, most loved Libertarian, a woman who will tell you what she feels, will tell you what she means, but may not tell you where the cookies are. Danielle Alexandria, good morning.
Good morning. That is true. You have to specifically ask for cookies in this house.
That's true. It's very true.
The cookies are under witness protection.
They are.
If I'm in the house, they better be.
Exactly.
Because if I find them, I'm going to get them.
That's right. So that's why all of a sudden, like a few days after grocery shopping, it's like, did we get cookies? And it's like, yeah, they're in that container on the top shelf.
I can't say that I'm necessarily a fan of that, but I'll go with it. Anyway. Because at least when I do ask, they're like, yes, there are cookies. You know how much I love cookies.
We both do it, though. We both are kind of like nobody says anything until asked.
Admit nothing.
Yes.
But we won't lie.
Yes, that's true. Also in studio, managing the boards as he does so well. His name is Libertarian Greg, or Knobs, or Snoochie Boochies, or Snoogans, or Tiger.
Oh, we had another one. What was it?
Or, damn, I don't remember.
Do you remember?
I'm just going to leave it to you guys to keep the list.
Oh, man.
Damn.
We got to start writing them down.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Greg, how are you doing this morning?
Awesome. How you doing?
You know what, man? I was doing any better, they'd probably find a way to tax it and regulate it.
I'm sure they would.
I'm sure they already have.
They might have.
You're just, engaged in civil disobedience right now.
My life is civil disobedience.
Mine too.
So is Greg's.
There's nothing civil about my life.
I hope everybody is doing very, very well. Let's get right into the news, though. We'll go right into it because there's good news to be had. So why wait?
Good news.
There is some good news. And Danielle will give you the story. Now, me and Greg were talking before. I was suggesting that you didn't necessarily need to hide the names to protect the innocent or the guilty. Greg seems to think that you do need to protect the names.
No, it's not that I think that the names need to be protected. I just think the ones we made up are much better.
That's true. That's true.
Are you guys really going to make me do
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Oh, you got to tell the story.
Here's the thing.
Now, I would vote that you tell the story with the names that we had before.
Yeah. I mean, you don't got to tell the whole story. You ain't got to go back from the beginning. But if you're going to talk about it today, you have to use the names that we talked about then.
And you definitely have to call him the Good Sheriff.
Well, definitely
Yes,
that.
definitely
And I
sheriff.
don't mind that. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, well, everybody doesn't know because we got kicked off air Wednesday for being bad.
Which we weren't. We weren't being bad.
We weren't
YouTube
being
just doesn't
bad.
know any better.
Right. YouTube thought we were being bad, so we got kicked off air. So these two had made me tell the story of the good sheriff Nick Finch up in Liberty County, but they made me tell it in a story tale,
In a
a
fairy
fairy
tale
tale fashion.
It did start with Once Upon a Time in Liberty County.
Yes. So, and that was not recorded because YouTube thought that we were using Rebel Inc. music without permission, and they kicked us off air and things like that, which was a mess because we do have their permission. They actually send it to us.
They're friends of the show. They've been on the air before. They send us their music before they release it to the public, so we can use it on air here.
Right. So, and the funny thing is that the files that we use is what they sent us a month before the CD was released so that we could start airing it beforehand. But, so we had gotten kicked off air, so the actual fairy tale story of the good Sheriff Nick Finch was not recorded, and
that's a shame.
these guys want me to do it again, so we will do an abbreviated version again. So, once upon a time in Liberty County, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's a really, really tiny county up in North Florida. It's actually geographically a decent-sized county, but population, it is the smallest county in Florida and possibly anywhere.
There's only 4 names in the phone book.
No, there's like the total voters are only like 7,500 voters, which is funny because just in our city that we live in Newport Richey, there's 9,000. So their whole county has less voters than our tiny little city here. Just to kind of put it in perspective. So, once upon a time in the county of Liberty.
I like that. Once upon a time in the county of Liberty.
That's right.
That's right. I like that.
There was
very good. Very good.
There was a good sheriff named Nick Finch.
The good Sheriff Nick Finch.
And he will be forever known as the good Sheriff Nick Finch.
That's right.
And one night on a dark and windy road.
It gets better.
One of his deputies, Deputy Fussy Pants,
Yes.
got behind a car driven by old Willie Wumpkins, who was leaving the national forest, or the state forest. Now, Deputy Fussy Pants was not a good deputy, and he had been in trouble before for being overly aggressive with suspects. But he pulled over old Willie Wumpkins as he was coming out of the state forest for no real reason except that he was not maintaining a lane. And on that dark and windy road, that was very common to not maintain a lane because it was very dark and very windy. So when Deputy Fussy Pants went over to old Willie Wumpkins' car, old Willie Wumpkins, being the good citizen that he was, said, "I would just like to let you know that I've come out of the state forest and I have a weapon on my front seat and also one in my pocket." Apparently, police shooting dogs made old Willie Wumpkins a little nervous that maybe he should just tell everyone what's going on from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, Deputy Fussy Pants decided to pull old Willie Wumpkins out of his car and arrest him for having a weapon on him without having a concealed weapons permit. When the good Sheriff Nick Finch found out, he called down to his clerk Matilda, what did we call
Merkin.
her? Merkin.
Yep.
And said, "Don't do anything, don't book him, I will be there, I want to know what's going on." So, old Willie Wumpkins was at the jail, Deputy Fussy Pants was there, the good Sheriff Nick Finch arrives, says what happened, found out what happened, and said, "We believe in the Second Amendment here, he needs to be released." Upon that, Clerk Matilda Merkin whited out the name because old Willie Wumpkins was actually, in fact, never booked. So he didn't have to have his name in the booking log because he wasn't booked. So he was released. Now, about a month later, Deputy Fussy Pants continued on his reign of terror. No, I don't know if it was a reign of terror.
I love it, though. It's a great description.
And was actually being investigated by Internal Affairs because of his overly aggressive nature with suspects. And when he found that out, he quit. Sorry, my computer screen refreshed. So he quit. And when he quit, he decided that he was going to be very mean to the good Sheriff Nick Finch, and he was going to complain to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and say that the good Sheriff Nick Finch took the arrest records that night and had destroyed these records. And so the Governor Skeletor, who's very, very corrupt and very mean, put out an arrest warrant for the good Sheriff Nick Finch, even though there was actually no evidence. But that's okay, because he did it anyways, because he's very, very mean. So Skeletor, the Governor Skeletor, signed the arrest warrant, and the good Sheriff Nick Finch was booked into his own jail, even though there was no evidence against him. So this week, the trial of the good Sheriff Nick Finch went on, and now our candidate, do we have to say a name for him too?
That's up to Alex. I don't know if we got one on Wednesday. So.
We didn't. So give me a name.
Dang.
We'll call him Sheriff Nottingham.
No, you can't call him Sheriff Nottingham. You got to call him.
Because you already have a good sheriff.
You just got to go Governor.
Okay.
Governor.
So,
Governor Wiley.
So
you have to go. You have to go Boston when you say it. So it's got to be Governor Wiley. You know.
Well, that's not
like that.
Boston.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like Kennedy.
I can't
Kennedy,
do
Boston.
I could,
All right, we'll
I'll
just
do
call him
something.
Governor Wiley.
Okay. So.
How about every time you're going to say his name, I'll say it.
No.
Okay.
So, so our candidate, Governor Wiley, the governor, actually went up to the trial to support the good Sheriff Nick Finch, and we've actually supported the good sheriff quite a few times because we really did believe that he was a good man who was doing the right thing, and that Governor Skeletor was being very, very mean, and he should be vanquished for his meanness.
Love it.
So. He was reporting from the trial. The Governor Wiley was reporting from the trial and letting us know what happened. And in the trial, we actually found out, as the prosecution was making their case, that the records for the arrest of old Willie Wumpkins was in fact taken, but it was taken by Deputy Fussy Pants and not the good Sheriff Nick Finch. The clerk, Matilda Merkin, also admitted that she did white out the name, but that it was very common to white out the name. We heard from a reporter. What was the reporter's name that we made up?
Oh, man, what's the
Pressman Pete.
Yeah, Pressman Pete.
Pressman Pete, who's been a reporter for 25 years, actually was on the stand and did in fact say that he does get the booking log every day, and that nearly every day there is whiteout on the booking log. So this is something not only common, it's been happening for the last 25 years.
Long before the good Sheriff Nick Finch was running the show.
Sheriff. Yes. So, and he'd actually complained to the sheriff's office before about it. So in the end, Matlock, who was the lawyer for the good Sheriff Nick Finch, did an amazing job. He actually basically disproved everything that the prosecution had, which was very little to begin with. And actually, it came out yesterday at about, I think noon is when we saw it, that the good Sheriff Nick Finch was found not guilty. So justice prevailed, and there's a happily ever after ending for this fairy tale because the good Sheriff Nick Finch was actually found not guilty and was reinstated by Governor Skeletor immediately. And the Governor Skeletor, Rick Scott, should be ashamed of himself that it even got this far.
Absolutely.
That is very true. And that is another reason upon the many reasons that there is no reason that you should be voting for Governor Skeletor.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
No, it is. It was, very... When you were hearing the case, and, this is not fairy tale anymore, but when you were hearing about the case, it was a joke. I mean, they had no evidence. They never had any evidence. And for it to have wasted this much in taxpayer, resources, they put in an interim sheriff, Buddy Money, who was an FDLE agent, by the way, and paid him, wasn't paying Sheriff Nick Finch.
The good
Sheriff Nick Finch. I actually will keep using that because he is a good sheriff. But the good Sheriff Nick Finch was not getting paid, and now they're going to have to pay him all his back pay because he was exonerated. He was found not guilty because he didn't do anything wrong.
He was doing his job, and he was standing up for the people of Liberty County, which is exactly what we should do. It is
and
so
it's what they elected him to do.
Yeah, it is so rare that we actually have people who are in elected office that get there and actually stand up for the people who got them there and stand up for their rights and actually protect them. And we actually had one in Liberty County, and it was like a lynch mob was sent after him because he stood up for the people and did the right thing. It tells you whose side those people in Tallahassee are on.
Absolutely. And, I do have to say that this wasn't the first time that the good Sheriff Nick Finch released someone who had not harmed anyone. This was the fourth time. He had gotten sworn in January, and this happened in March. And this was the fourth time in the 3-month period that he had released someone because they hadn't done any harm to anyone. So this was someone who was actually standing on the Constitution and doing what was right and doing what we want a sheriff to do. And he was persecuted and, come after by everyone, every authority that possibly could come after him, including the governor, for doing what he should have done from the beginning.
Governor Skeletor is what you're talking about.
Governor Skeletor, who should be ashamed of himself today.
He should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that, well, I'm glad that he didn't take the deal. I'm glad that he went to trial.
And I'm glad it was a jury trial.
I'm glad he had Matlock.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad he had a jury that actually stood up and did the right thing.
And we'll see if there's any new and exciting news coming from from the good Sheriff Nick Finch within the next 30 days.
He actually did go on to Adrian's page last night and, basically thank Adrian for all of the support that we've given him. And, basically said that he will be supporting Adrian and he cannot wait till the day where he can shake Adrian's hand and call him governor.
Oh,
That's awesome.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's actually such an amazing person. And the Libertarian Party of Florida and the Wiley campaign, I heard about this story literally 10 hours after he was arrested. And I didn't know Nick Finch. I'd never heard of him before. Obviously, I said he comes from a very, very tiny county. But as soon as I heard the story, I knew it was something that we needed to get involved with. And I called Adrian right away, told Alex. We started getting on the phone with Dana and other people from the LPF saying, what can we do? Because this is something we want our sheriffs to do. And for them to be arrested for doing what we're asking them to do, we need to stand up and say that we stand with the sheriff.
The good Sheriff Nick
We
Finch.
need
good
to stand.
sheriff.
We need to stand up for the people who stand up for us.
Yeah, and we did right away. And there was some other organizations that had originally said, yeah, we want to be with you. And then they kind of backed off and said, well, we don't really know him. So until we know him better, we're not going to put our name on it. And it didn't matter who Nick Finch was. He did the right thing, and we have to stand up with people who do the right thing regardless of who they are. And we knew that right from the beginning, and we stood with him right from the beginning because of that, because he did the right thing, and regardless of anything that had ever happened, which comes to find out that he was a good man.
Right.
But regardless, he did the right thing, and we have to stand with people who do the right thing. And we had a rally within 10 days of him being arrested and did as much as we could for him, from a distance, because obviously he's in Liberty County, which is quite far from us.
Yeah.
But, and I'm very honored to have gotten to know him and his lovely wife, Angela, and to because it turns out they are amazing people. They're very good people. And I'm, very honored that we could be involved in this process at all and to get to know them because they're phenomenal people. And I'm very happy to call them friends now.
Awesome.
Very good. Very, very good. I'm glad to hear all of it, actually. I'm glad to hear the way that you feel about Sheriff Fussy Pants.
No,
And,
you mean Deputy Fussy Pants.
Deputy Fussy Pants. And it's a good story. I'm glad you told it the way that you did. I do like it when you use the other names. All right, so there's something else that I want to get into, and I just want to make sure, because I'm only going to get into it for 15 minutes, because I'm going to cut this out. We're going to cut this out, and we're going to use it. So, what's that?
Nothing.
Well, no. We're not going to say the cutting's neck. It's going to be at 9:20 is when I'm going to actually.
No, I
really
understand
do
that, but these are just things that you don't say on air.
People want real. People want me to keep it real. I'm keeping it real. Damn it.
Keep it real, yo.
I'm keeping it real, yo.
Keep the mic dead, yo.
Keep the mic dead. Keep the mic dead.
That's the thing.
Oh, you're back.
You're back.
I have to crank it all the way to get anything out of this.
Because, I think because you're in the room, like, I still hear you. And I'm like, no, the mic's not out. I heard you. And then I realized, like, you're 4 feet from me.
Yeah.
I think he's closer than 4 feet. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right, there was a survey that was taken, the 2013 American Values Survey. And what it was is in search of libertarians in America. And I think that this is probably... If if you're a libertarian as a member of the Libertarian Party, this should give you hope, and it should give you the plan that you need in order to grow the party to become a major party. But I'm going to break down some of the numbers for you so we can kind of talk about a little bit of the breakdown here, because it is a little telling as to where some of these people are. So what they did is that they basically went libertarian or not communist, but communal. So they went kind of like libertarian or communal, and then that was the two extremes, and then they kind of based everything off of that. And then they asked them a whole bunch of other questions that go with that, which is why we're going to break down the numbers. So according to the newly developed Libertarian Orientation Scale, less than 1 in 10, and this is where they kind of get a little... I would argue that the people that did this had an agenda, but you can get through the agenda. Let me say it like that. According to a newly developed Libertarian Orientation Scale, less than 1 in 10, 7% Americans are consistent libertarians, and an additional 15% lean libertarian. What that really means is that 22% of people are libertarian. That's what it really does mean. Because, you don't have to be a perfect one.
I don't think there are any perfect libertarians.
Yeah, I don't think that there are. I don't think that even exists.
Well, I think the fact that we're all individuals and we embrace the fact that everybody is an individual, there is no such thing as a perfect libertarian.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
The only thing that a perfect libertarian would be is someone who is going to accept others' individuality and respect their rights.
I'm a perfect libertarian, but that's different. All right, so at the other end of the spectrum, 7% are communalists, and an additional 17% lean communalist. So you have 7 and 15 for 22, 7 and 17 for 24 on the other side. So that's basically what you have there when it comes to I want a whole bunch of government involvement, I don't want any government involvement. 54% of people are actually in the middle. They're actually leaning either more towards libertarian or
varying degrees of each.
Yeah, varying degrees of each. So let's talk about the libertarians, the 22%, because that really is enough to become a major party and to win. You don't even need all of them, but let's just go down this. It said this too, which I thought was kind of funny, is that compared to the general populations, libertarians are significantly more likely to be non-Hispanic white males and young. Nearly all libertarians are non-Hispanic whites, 94%. More than 2/3 are men. More than 6 in 10 are under the age of 50. We really got to do a better job of going out to... I mean, we got to go out to all communities, but we really do need to go out and get some... Look, there's more people that are closer to libertarian than that, though, I would think, at least. But we're going to use their numbers as their numbers. Either way, it doesn't matter. We got to go get those people, too, though. This is where it gets a little funny. The party affiliation of libertarians skews significantly more Republican than Democrat, is what they're saying. Close to half, 45% of libertarians identify as Republicans, compared to 5% who identify as Democrats. So that's 50% that are either Democrats or Republicans. However, half of the libertarians identified as politically independent. Now they got that at 35%. Or identify with a third party, that's 15%. Now, included in that number is roughly 1 in 10 who identify with the Libertarian Party. So they identify as a member of the Libertarian Party. 4 in 10 libertarians identify as part of the Tea Party movement. 61% do not. Now, what do these numbers tell us? Now, you would look at that number initially and go, well, 45% of them are in the Republican Party. That must be the way to go. However, we're going to get to some other statistics to prove that is actually incorrect in a lot of different ways. So, the other good thing is that out of all of the people that are saying that they're either libertarian or libertarian leaning, a lot of them are either in a third party, half of them are either in a third party or MPA, which means they're not Democrats or Republicans. What this means is that there is this divide within the movement of whether people should be in the GOP and whether people should not. I'm going to tell you why it is impossible to do it through the GOP here in a couple minutes, though.
I have a theory on why it splits that way as well.
Oh, me too. I don't actually like the survey at all.
No, I don't think it's accurate. I think it's misleading to some degree. Not
I said the
necessarily
same
because
thing.
of the survey, but
Well, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it is misleading, but that's okay anyway. At least let me give you my opinion as to why it's misleading. I'll ask you yours. I think the reason that is a little bit misleading was because of the way in which they asked the question. That if they would have asked it issue-based and moved people into the category based off of the issues, that you would have seen a bigger Democrat number. But because they were specific on the word, which for my purposes of this argument is actually important, which is why I use it, because you're going to have an initial conversation with somebody. If somebody already leans libertarian or is libertarian based off of the word, it's much easier to say, hey, I'm a member of the party, sign here. Because you don't have to explain libertarianism to them.
Right. No, I do agree with you that for what you wrote and, for what your purposes are, this study was okay. I don't like the way it was, because the word libertarian is actually being defined in the mainstream media by Republicans.
Exactly. That's why I think it's false, because they're saying that more libertarians lean conservative or are registered Republicans, and that's not really the case.
Right.
You have Republicans who are being indoctrinated to think that they are now libertarians because there are Republicans labeling themselves libertarians. They think that's what a libertarian is, so that's what they're identifying with.
And that's why Democrats tend to not identify with the word, because the word has been defined in the mainstream media by Republicans.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Now, in this, the other part that was important here was 61% do not identify as part of the Tea Party movement, which means you're not going to go to rallies and see these people. Not because they just don't identify with them. It's not saying that they don't like them or that they do like them. They're saying they don't identify with them. So we as libertarians have to go out to these people and go get them where they live, because they're not going to show up to Tea Party rallies and stuff like that. And that's 6 and 10, 61%. Now, inside the GOP, libertarians make up a smaller proportion of the Republican Party than other key conservative groups. Only 12% of self-identified Republicans are libertarians, compared to 20% of Republicans who identify with the Tea Party, 33% who identify with the religious right or conservative Christian movement, and 37% who identify as white evangelical Protestant. You got to look at history on this one to understand why it doesn't work within the GOP. And here's the reason. The other groups that you're talking about in this area right here are part of that three-legged stool.
Right.
You are the smallest part of that stool, and knowing that those other two groups collude against you,
and will continue
to.
And a lot of that, the Tea Party, even not even as much the Tea Party part, but the evangelicals and the religious right movement and things like that. These are people who are not going to change their position at all. Mm-hmm. So they're never, that group is so, and they're in that thinking for a very strong reason. That is their faith. That's their religious beliefs. And they don't believe in ever compromising that belief system whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So they're never going to come around to your thinking ever. And they make up a larger majority than you do.
At least of the Republican Party.
Now,
the overall voter base, that's not
in
true.
the GOP. That's what I'm talking about. If you're trying to take over the GOP, that contingent of the GOP is much larger than you, and because they're set in their religious beliefs, they are never going to compromise those beliefs to come around to your way of thinking.
Yep. Now, libertarians also contribute a smaller portion of the Tea Party movement than other core conservative groups, so this is within the Tea Party. About 1/4, 26% of Americans who identify with the Tea Party movement are libertarian, so they have a 26% here. 52% say they're part of the religious right or the conservative Christian movement. That's a lot of people, by the way. And 35% who identify as white evangelical Protestants. Trying to take the Tea Party and maneuver them to be all libertarian, again, by the numbers that they're talking about, won't work. It won't work. 52% saying they're part of the religious right or the conservative Christian movement. Now, you got to remember, those 52%, some of those people were involved in what happened during the 90s, where you had the religious right come over and try to take over the GOP, which they'll claim that they did, but they actually were co-opted. But either rate, though, I'm not going to get into that part, though. Libertarians are composed of a disproportionately high number of white mainline Protestants, 27%, and religiously unaffiliated Americans, 27%. Only about 1 in 10 libertarians identify as Catholic, and no libertarians identify as black Protestant. We need to go get a black Protestant right now just to say we got one. I mean, for real.
Are you saying we need a token?
No, we're not getting a token anything. We're libertarians. We don't believe in that.
Calm down over there, Danielle.
It's a joke.
Yeah. Man, I tell you. Ooh, boy. You can say, Deputy Fussy Pants, but if I make one little joke about a black Protestant, it's all woohoo and stuff.
I just
You
want to put
racist.
out that we don't do that. That's against our principles. That's it. I
Okay.
don't want anyone to think that we would actually do that for real for people that don't understand your joking nature.
I go with that. All right, now let me get into some of the other numbers here, and this is some other reasons. There's some other very telling things in here. Not in the issues part. I'm going to get to the other parts. A majority, 53% of Libertarians voters say they always vote in primary elections, a rate comparable to white evangelical Protestants at 48, and Republican voters overall at 50, but significantly lower than the participation rate amongst Tea Party voters at 62. You know what, man? Here's the thing, and this is the part. We know the numbers, by the way. People are lying in this part. They're lying.
Well,
Only 20% of the Republicans vote in the primaries.
right.
That's not like a poll number. That's how many went and did it.
Well,
All right, so
But were they saying in primaries or were they saying in elections overall?
primary elections. A
Okay.
majority, 53% of Libertarian voters say they always vote in primary elections.
Which is funny because we generally don't have primary elections.
Well, that's a nationwide poll, though.
Oh,
right?
that's true.
See, that's the
Okay.
thing. Here in Florida, that's the case because we have a closed
We have a
primary
closed
state,
primary
but
state.
other states aren't the same.
That
Okay.
is true. So I think that number is misleading because when you take the average of the whole country, there's different rules to where I would vote in a primary. I don't have the option.
Yeah, I would totally vote in an open primary, but I
Right.
can't.
All right, here's where it goes. A majority, 57% of Libertarians have a favorable view of the Republican Party, but a substantial minority, 40%, have an unfavorable view of the GOP. What this tells us is this. Okay, it's 57 to 40, 57 like, 40 dislike. The 57 that like, you better understand that the 40 that dislike are never coming over. Never.
And
never. They hate you.
And that's still skewed again because
is
there are
skewed.
people they are identifying as libertarians
That
who
are
are
not
really
libertarians.
Republicans,
Right.
and so it's skewing those numbers. That is absolutely not accurate.
Yes.
Oh, for the purposes of this article, I'm gonna for this what we're talking about. I'm going with those numbers though. I understand the viewpoints that both of you are making here, but I'm going with these numbers.
Okay.
Even with these numbers, it shows you 40% are like, no, we're not going to do this. After all that's been done, after the Ron Paul campaigns, after all this other stuff, 40% of you saying, I'm not coming over there. That 57%, you better get organized and get your act together, or you better come over with us. One of the two. Because you ain't organized in the GOP right now. I can tell you that right now. When you got people that are losing elections like they're losing, you don't have the organization you need, son. All right, so... Now, here we go. Approximately two-thirds of Tea Party members, 68%, and white evangelical protests, 66%, have a favorable view of the Republican Party. Libertarians hold more negative views of Democrats than they hold positive views of Republicans. Nearly 9 in 10 Libertarians have an unfavorable view of the Democratic Party, including nearly two-thirds, 64%, who have an unfavorable opinion of the party. Now, again, what I don't understand, this is where I think they've skewed some of the numbers up. That's why I do think some of the numbers are a little skewed, though. Now, this is the other part, and this is how you can see their breakdown of this number, though, of the ones in the Republican Party. Among voters who identify with or lean towards the Republican Party, support is spread fairly evenly across the potential 2016 presidential field in a head-to-head question. 18% prefer Governor Chris Christie. 18% Governor Chris Christie.
If you say you're libertarian leaning, but you support Chris Christie, then that's how you know these numbers are skewed.
A little
Exactly.
bit. A little bit. 18% prefer Congressman Paul Ryan. 15% prefer Jeb Bush. 14% prefer Marco Rubio. 11 Rand Paul, and 11 Ted Cruz. So it's a little weird in that aspect. But let me get out of this poll part and let me get into the part the thing I really wanted to talk about, because I wrote an article this week, and the name of the article was there are 2,595,586 libertarians in Florida. It was almost I almost tried to do it as a shocking thing, like there's 2 million voters in Florida that are libertarian, right? If you break down the numbers that they had, though, of everybody that's libertarian or libertarian leaning, you're looking at 22%. So in Florida, that 22% would equate to 2.5 million libertarians.
Just about 2.6.
Yeah, just about 2.6. Now, in order to become a major party in Florida, you need 589,907. So if all of those people, you need 1 in 5. Would that be right? 1 in 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of those people, you really do need just 1 in 5 to be libertarian, to register in the Libertarian Party.
Right.
Yeah, 20%.
Yeah, so if you knocked on 5 doors of these people that were potential libertarians and one of them told you yes, and we knocked on every one of those doors, we're a major party. Correct?
Well, yeah,
Correct.
and I think that the better number here is the independent no party affiliation number.
No, that's true. That's very, very true. So let me I'm going to say it to another way. If you went and talked to 100 neighbors in your neighborhood, 22 of them are libertarians. They're not all registered libertarians. Most of them are not registered libertarians. But if you went and simply got half of those people, which would basically be a lot of the MPAs, like you don't even have to get somebody to switch over from GOP or from Dems. Technically, we just don't need you people. At least we don't need you to become a major party, which is the point I really wanted to make here, is that this argument of, well, should we do it through the GOP, should we do it through the LP, that kind of back and forth thing. Look, if you believe and support doing it through the LP, go get yourself 110 people in your precinct. Because if we had that on average in every precinct in the state of Florida, we would be a major party instantly. Now, once you're a major party, that changes everything. It changes the whole game. Because what you get is on the voter registration forms, we're on it.
Instead of having to write it in.
Right, which
Yeah.
currently we're not, which is very confusing for people. And I have had people tell me that are no party affiliation now say to me that changed over to the LP saying, I wanted to register as a libertarian all along, but that wasn't an option on the form. And they didn't know that they had to check off minor party and write it in.
Right.
Yeah. Because the supervisor of elections offices is not necessarily telling you. I'm not going to necessarily claim that all of them are doing bad stuff, because it seems like this, the supervisor of elections people are like some of the nicest people out there. But the problem is systemic. And because of that, the way that they're trained, the way that they talk is done in such a way to promote going into the Democrat or Republican parties. I've watched it. It's the way it is.
Right.
I don't think it's being done with malicious intent, but it's being done.
Yeah, the individuals at the supervisor of elections office have always been great people every time I've ever had to deal with any of them. And I don't think that there's like some conspiracy from those people. They're just, their hands are tied and they have to deal with things, with policies, you know, the way that they're handed to them. And those supervisor of elections people, there's really no reason for them to, there's no incentive for them to kind of push any third parties. You know, they just kind of need to do their job and do it by the policies that's given to them. You know, so their hands are kind of tied in that aspect, and they're certainly not going to sit there and go, well, here's all the parties, because we got a lot of parties in Florida.
Yeah, there is actually, I think, 13 altogether.
Yeah, when you go through the list of minor parties, nobody wants to sit and go over that list with you. So they're like, if you're not picking Democrat or Republican, you know, you're kind of on your own to figure it out, because I'm not helping you.
Yeah.
And you can't really be mad at them for that, because that's really not their job to help you figure out what you are.
Right.
No, that's true. That's true. That's very, very true. And this is the other thing that it does, is it moves libertarian into major parties. So when you go to the Florida Division of Elections website, they'll have major parties and there'll be 3 there, and then minor parties will be the rest. So that moves us up in the scale there. It also, at every one of the supervisor of elections office, it will say libertarian on the form, or on the board, basically. So, of course, we talked about most of them not being registered libertarians. But if you could convince half of the registered libertarians and visited 100 homes within a month, you as an individual would bring in 11 more libertarians each month. So what I'm saying is, if you go out in your neighborhood on a Saturday and knock on and talk to 100 people, 11 of them will be either libertarian or libertarian leaning, which means you don't have to explain to them libertarianism. You have to explain to them the party. and then you should ask them to join the party. Like, just simply asking them to join the party. Now, when you do that, what Danielle's talking about before and what Greg was talking about, this is where you have an advantage. Because some people wanted to do it, but they just didn't know they could.
Right.
And again, you can blame them for not knowing. You can say, well, it's their fault because they didn't know. Okay, we can play the blame game, or we can just register them over. One of the two.
Yeah.
So don't. Yeah. So
Don't be a dick. Help them.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Don't be a dick. Help them. Okay.
But
Thank you, Greg.
I do want to go into something that I think is, to me, more important than any of this. And it's we need to become a major party here in Florida. We need 589,970. So say about 590,000 people to be registered libertarians. But because of these poll numbers and what we see, and if you equate it to Florida, there are 908,000 people who are no party affiliation that are ideologically libertarians. And what that means is you could get just a little over half of those people to switch and still make a major party status and never actually have to switch over anyone from the GOP, anyone from the Democrat Party. And to me, that's important because we have this big, there's this big, the word libertarian is being defined by the GOP right now. And we can all say that. I mean, it's being defined in the mainstream media as the GOP. But they're not necessarily libertarians. And what they're calling libertarian isn't actually what the party believes. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's important that we can go after people who are ideologically libertarian, who already don't agree with the whole two-party system, which is why they haven't registered in either party. They've registered NPA. And we could still be a major party. We don't need the people in the other two parties. Mm-hmm. Now, if they agree with us and they want to come over, come on over. We welcome you. But it also means that we don't need you. And that whole, well, you need to come over to the GOP to win anything. No, we can do this without you guys. And that's important. And that's very important to me.
Good. Glad to know it's important to you. I'm glad to know. I do feel it's important as well. I'm just making fun of you. No. You're absolutely right. Now, and let me give you all of the statistics that go with what she was talking about here. So, if there's 2.5 million libertarians or libertarian-leaning voters in Florida, 1.1 of them identify with the GOP. 129,000 identify with the Democrats. 908,000 identify with no party affiliation, and 20,000 identify with the LP. So this means, one, that we have tons of people out there that we can go get. Again, it's that whole shoe thing. Like, you go over to, two sons go over to India, and their dad was a shoe salesman. The first son calls back and says, "Dad, send me home. Nobody wears shoes in India." The second son says, "Dad, send me every pair of shoes you got. Nobody wears shoes in India." Take the positive outlook of that number. So we just have to go out and ask people, like literally, "Hey, would you like to join the Libertarian Party of Florida?" "No?" "Okay, thank you for your time." Next. Go to the next person. Knock on doors. Ask them to join. People are just going to say yes. Enough will. Again, this is going to be a law of averages. And these numbers prove what Adrian, what you've been saying, from all the stuff that we've been going out, that us talking to the public has proven that these numbers, while some of them are skewed in some of the things that we were talking about, these are probably conservative numbers based off of the number of people that we have that are possibles. Because you got to remember, they took that 54%, and that's the mixed number. Mm-hmm. So out of everybody in America, 54% are mixed. They couldn't figure out one way or another. I would argue we still have a good chance to get a whole bunch of those people.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
The numbers themselves are actually conservative. What needs to happen, and this is, look, it's one of the reasons that we haven't grown in the past. It's one of the things that are going to stop us from growing in the future. It's that libertarians that are members of the party have to get out of their shell and realize that, one, you ain't switching. I mean, you're not really switching anybody over on social media. You may engage in debates and have conversations, but the both good and bad conversations on Facebook doesn't matter. You ain't switching anybody over on Facebook.
You're preaching to the choir on social media.
Pretty much.
You're not converting many people. I'm not saying nobody gets converted, but it's a negligible number, and it's not what's going to bring about an effective change.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this is the other thing. If you're an asshole on social media, you're not necessarily damaging the party either. I'm sorry, you're just not. You know why? Because most libertarians aren't on Facebook. I'll bet you they're not. Most of these people, I'll bet you, are not on social media. They may go online on the web and look at stuff, but they're not on Facebook as one of your friends on Facebook.
Yeah, they're not one of your Facebook friends. They haven't liked your pages that you're
they haven't
putting
read my
out your
article
stuff on. Yeah.
You know, that's okay though. Go to their homes. Go to where they live, knock on their door, and just ask them. It's not unlibertarian to ask somebody to join the Libertarian Party. You know, I know you want to be left alone. I know you want to be left alone, but go out and help us out here. Here's the thing. What I did was I tried to break it down to the micro level. And so this is what I'm going to say next to break it down to the micro level. No. Okay. If you were to convince half of the registered libertarians and visited 100 homes within a month, half to registered libertarians. If you were to take the guys that were libertarian leaning or libertarian fully in thought and went to those people and got half of them to switch over to the Libertarian Party and visited 100 homes a month, in 10 months by September, you will have registered over 110 libertarians. Now, to go see 110 homes, you're probably looking at 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that, I think. I think it would take about 4 or 5 hours, depends. Now, you're not going to be able to get to everybody, by the way, so you have to kind of do this thing by the numbers. But if you go and talk to 100 people, though, 22 of them are libertarians, at least that or leaning. They know enough to be able to talk to you. Get 11 of them. And again, maybe you just walk out on a Saturday once a month and you just switch over 11 people. Once you get to 11, you go back home. Again, we have to get these people switched over, though. And the reason for it is pretty simple. We have the biggest voting bloc in the country. 22% can be the biggest voting bloc in the country. 22% not only can sway elections, it can win elections. And the reason why is you got to remember the turnout. The turnout is the most important part, is that a lot of these other people are not turning out. If you can put and get everybody registered in the LP and turn out the vote for libertarians, boy, you're going to win a lot of races. You ain't going to win them all. But you're going to win a lot. You're going to have, I would argue you would have your representation inside of the halls of government, inside of state house, local house, and federal. You have representation in there. Because you got to remember, think about this with like special elections and stuff like that. We get our percentage out, man, we're winning big time. Because there's only 15% of the population voting in some of them races anyway. 15, 20%. We'll own special elections. Yep. Matter of fact, they'll probably stop holding them if we do this.
Yeah, when there's a 15% turnout and 9% of them are libertarians,
yeah,
it's we own the election.
Yeah.
Whatever we want to happen is
election.
what's going to happen.
And when it comes to the presidential elections, we're going to have a huge amount of sway at that point as well. A huge amount of sway. So that's the reason I wanted to bring this up and commit yourself. If you're listening to this and you are a libertarian, commit yourself to getting 110 people switched over. Me and Danielle are going to start on Saturday. I mean, we go out anyway, and we have switched people over, so it's not like we haven't done this.
I switched over 15 last week.
Yeah. Yeah. But we want to make sure that what we're doing is the stuff in the neighborhood that we're asking everybody else to do.
Right.
Not just the stuff that we do out everywhere else, because we do a whole bunch of stuff anyway, but we'll go and do this as well. And so this weekend, because we want to actually, what I want to try to do is I want to actually break down the numbers as we do them. So we knock on this many doors, this many people were there, this many people, liked what we had to say, this many people switched over to Libertarian, this many people joined the county affiliate. So if I can break down those numbers, that way I can start telling people like how many homes you have to hit in order to have so many people at your stuff. Basically, you need to break down the numbers. So that's what I'm going to do. But I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because, like I said, when I read this poll, I was actually very happy. Some people weren't as happy, but I was totally happy about the poll. And, I was having fun, even though Danielle, I don't think, was having fun.
No, I was not having any fun.
But that's just because she's just a negative Nilly, though.
I like the implications of the poll. I don't agree with the numbers, though.
You going to say something, Danielle?
Nope.
Nope, she's going to smack
Oh, come
you.
on! Say something. Come on. I'm just making fun of you.
She's going to violate the
But
NAP
you know what?
all over you.
You've been doing it all morning and all day yesterday. I'm kind of over it.
Oh, okay. All right. Alrighty then. Well,
You're going to have the nap violated all over you, bud.
yeah, I know. Now I wrote this article yesterday. I emailed it all out, which I thought was really good, and then it actually made a couple places too, which was even better. And I got to tell you, the people that are in the Republican Party, and I think this is why we've seen a lot of attacking of libertarians this week, is because of the survey, and because the Rand Pauls and a lot of people in the GOP are seeing this. And they're understanding that they're not going to be able to control it. And because Rand Paul's all about controlling it. He wants to be able to control that so he has his seat at the table of the GOP. Because that's what he is. I mean, Rand's a Republican. It should not be included in the list. However, he's going to try to, say that this is why you should stay in the GOP, even though, like we've said before, he's not really in it to change things the way that we're thinking is. He just wants his position of power, which is sad, really.
Well, and I think that he's kind of proved that by, some of the things that he's done, which obviously, the endorsing Mitch McConnell, endorsing, Ken Cuccinelli, some of his endorsements have definitely been very questionable. But not only has it been his endorsements, because, listen, everybody makes, I would say that everybody, even good people that are politicians, make bad endorsements. They do it all the time. Mm-hmm. But he's also pandered to a lot of different groups. His talk track, Rand Paul's talk track changes depending on what group he's speaking in front of. Mm-hmm. And, so if he's in front of a bunch of evangelicals, then his talk track changes and he panders to them. And I think that's something that we need to look at well above who he's, endorsing is some of the rhetoric that he uses, by going on a, 13-hour filibuster against drone strikes in the U.S. and then the next day saying if someone walks out of a liquor store with cash in their hand, he doesn't care if they get drone bombed. So there's this you never really know what he believes because he tends to say something different depending on who he's talking to.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And he's done a lot to actually, I mean, I don't know how I say this. He actually has disdain for libertarians.
Yeah. The way he talks about libertarians, it does not make me feel welcome in his camp.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, especially those that don't belong to the libertarian, especially those that don't belong to the GOP.
And quite frankly, I like to get naked and smoke pot, and he totally demeaned that. So that's like...
You like to run around, get naked, and smoke pot?
I've done that before. I've been there.
I think the fact that...
And I was having fun.
I think the fact that he would say something like that, that's all we're, every libertarian is just doing that. I mean, you're increasing, you're just putting out a stereotype that just is wrong, number one, but, just demeaning too.
Yeah.
But, and there's been a lot of polls lately, not only this one that Alex was talking about, but, the polls, there's the Gallup poll that said, 60% of the people are ready for a third party. There's, other polls that are basically saying that, people are ready to start voting for a third party candidate, for congressional seats and things like that. You're looking at the race in Virginia, and this is not an endorsement of Robert Sarvis. I don't know him enough to endorse him, but I can say that his run for governor in Virginia says a lot. That people are willing and are looking at the third party candidate a lot more often now. And, and there's the whole, libertarians are just messing up elections for the Republicans. And that's not true because they actually ran, Quinnipiac actually did run a poll in Virginia and basically asked the question, Sarvis was polling about 10% when they polled all three of them. But they went on to ask other questions. Like, if Sarvis wasn't in the race, who would you vote for? And it was very evenly split between Cuccinelli and McAuliffe. He was pulling votes from both sides fairly evenly, and it was not enough in favor of the Republican to where Cuccinelli would win. He was pulling from Cuccinelli at 2% more than he was pulling from McAuliffe. That was the difference, 2%. but McAuliffe, the Democrat, is winning by 10%. So you cannot say that Sarvis or any third party is swaying an election against a Republican. A lot of these people are just sick of Republicans. Mm-hmm. And even though they may be registered in the party or whatever, they're not going to vote for your candidate. I'm actually getting really sick of the whole, you're pulling from the Republican. There's a lot of Republicans who are sick of their party. They just haven't switched over. And there's a lot of independents that would vote for anyone over a Republican right now. And that's just very widespread. So you're finding people who generally would have voted for a Republican before that will only vote for the third party candidate or for the Democrat because they just want to see the GOP go away.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, and after watching and again, they're going to claim that we have the attitudes. We're going to claim that they have the attitudes.
Yeah.
Irregardless of that, there is a whole lot of people in the GOP that are that make the claim that they are, liberty-leaning people that by their actions are clearly not.
Yeah.
You have to be, if you're going to be principled, to be principled. If you're going to say that you are a principled individual, then go ahead and do that. If you're going to be a party firster, then you should go ahead and admit that one as well. And without getting into too much of the negativity on this stuff, because I'm pretty much over it. But I'm to the point now where I actually don't care about those people. I don't want them. I don't want them. And people have asked. Like, so I said something the other day, and I mentioned something online, and somebody goes, well, that's why I don't like libertarians, because you people are attacking Republicans. And I only laid out the truth of what happened. And I'm like, guy, I don't want you. I don't want you. If you're still in there and you see the evil that they're doing and you've decided to stay, if you've made that conscious decision that I'm going to bypass that and I'd rather stand with those evil bastards than to stand with us, screw you. You stay over there. You go ahead, you be a little Republican. But don't put liberty or libertarian or constitutionalist or anything else in front of it. You're a Republican. You're the same scumbag that Marco Rubio is. You're the same piece of crap that Lindsey Graham is. All right? That's who you are. Admit that. Stand with them. Hold their hands. That's what you should do. I'm going to go out and go find other people that are actually libertarians. And then when you want to be the sunshine patriot and you want to go, yeah, the Libertarian Party, that's a great thing to do, we'll let you come over. No leadership position for you, though. You've already proven yourself to be unprincipled. You've already proven yourself that you're probably for sale. I don't need that in my party. Or our party, let's say.
Well, and I think that there's a big disconnect between people, especially, GOP people, who are blaming libertarians for not voting with them or things like that. And I think they need to look at the candidates that they're putting up and stop blaming libertarians. Because it's not our fault that you're putting up candidates that are so horribly bad that people would vote for anyone but that person.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening, is that the people who are winning the primary are so horribly bad that people would vote for anyone but that person. And I'm sorry, Ken Cuccinelli in Virginia is one of them. This is someone who wants to, basically outlaw oral sex and, outlaw being gay and outlaw to where a person would go to jail. And then you're saying, well, it's that libertarian that's ruining the race. No, you put up a really horrible candidate. That's what's ruining your chances.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I have the biggest problems with those claims that libertarians are, stealing votes and they're ruining. First of all, you don't own anybody's vote. I don't care if they voted for Republicans before. I don't care if they voted for Democrats before. I don't care what party they're registered with. You don't own anyone's vote. They are not your property. And that is why you are not a libertarian. You have not left the concept that other people cannot be your property, that they are not your responsibility to dictate to them what they are to do. That's the first problem. You are not libertarian because you want to be a dictator. Second problem is you're exactly what you said. You're putting candidates up there that put their foot in their mouth and swallow it to the knee, and then you blame us because we didn't vote for that idiot.
Right.
Oh, it's our fault that you put an idiot up for us to vote for and we didn't vote for him? Oh, we didn't fall for your stupid game, so it's our fault? Oh.
Yeah, give me someone good to vote for, and I'll vote for them. If they're principled and a good principled person, you'll get my vote. give me crap and you don't get my vote. Every person from every party has to earn my vote. If you don't earn it, you don't get it. Stop putting up people who don't earn the vote.
Exactly. All right, hour number 1 is in the bag. Hour number 2 will be coming up, and that one will be live on Tan Talk 1340 AM. So no cursing, people. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. We'll be back after these messages. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
words of the man with the rifle in his hand. Don't be mistaken, I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authority of man. I'm ready to die, but not for a lie. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker and Adrian Wiley on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and the entire state. Oh, no, we're not doing that for there. This is Alex Snicker, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, Danielle Alexandria. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
Good. Greg Bowen, how you doing?
Spectacular.
Very good. Very good. For those of you listening on Tan Talk 1340, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll get right to the stories because we only have an hour with you, so let's go right into it. The first one we're really going to get into is going to be the aftermath of the special election that was held up in Pasco County. Danielle, kind of go over where are we at with this now?
Well, if anyone, I mean, we talked about this for several weeks while the special election was going on. Mike Fasano actually left his House Representative seat in District 36 to become the tax collector. There was a special election. It was and ended up being after primary Bill Gunter against the Republican against Amanda Murphy, the Democrat. Amanda Murphy did win. She won by a small margin, but she won. And she won with the majority of Republicans actually coming out. So she actually won very heavily with Republican voters as well as her own voters. And independents, which independents always sway an election anyways. Well, the Republican Party is actually a little worried now because of that election. They're basically saying that this could have huge implications for the entire state of Florida. And they're actually sending out pretty much memos and letters back and forth quite rapidly since she's only actually been a representative for a couple weeks now. And there's already been several letters going around because of her race that they're scared. They're very worried that they're going to be losing a large amount of House seats coming up in the 2014 election. But they're equating that, and this is what I think is really funny. They're saying that they need to raise some more money because of this. And a lot of the letters going around is basically like, hey guys, our candidates need to raise some more money individually. And, and this is why I think the Republicans don't get it, is because they, altogether, what was spent on Bill Gunter was $1 million in this District 36 race. $1 million. And Amanda Murphy, with the party money and with what she raised and everything that was spent in favor of Amanda Murphy, it was just about $100,000. So they outspent her 10-1. And she still won. And now the big push up in Tallahassee is let's make sure our candidates raise enough money. Yeah, not that I want to help you guys win, but I just like to let you know you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Well, and that's true, but the National Party has come out as of recently and is now saying that what they need to do is to focus their effort on the grassroots.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry about that. You're right. Absolutely right, Greg. If you would like to call in, the Refresh Telecom phone lines is 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032. So that is the phone number. But you're right. This guy looks at it the wrong way. And Democrats are also looking at this one the wrong way as well.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that they're going to have these big major gains when it comes to all around the state of Florida. And that's not really going to happen.
Right.
Again, this was a special election. There were circumstances as to why people voted the way that they did. And it wasn't like all of your people turned out to vote for Amanda Murphy. She won with Republicans. She didn't win with Democrats.
Right.
I mean, she did. The Democrats that came out voted for her.
But she won because of Republicans and independents. And I just want to say this, and because people are looking at this, they're looking at Amanda Murphy winning, they're looking at, Obama winning re-election as these mandates for programs. And that's not what's happening. People aren't voting for the Democrat because they like Obamacare, because Obamacare has actually abysmal polling numbers right now. They're not voting for these people because of Common Core, because Common Core has abysmal polling numbers right now. They're voting for these people because the Republicans are putting up someone worse. So when you go into, and in a lot of these races, people are still voting for the lesser of the evils. They're just finding the Republican more evil. And it has nothing to do with, no, people just love these programs. No, that's not true. People aren't voting because they like the programs of the Democrats, so they're voting Democrat. They're voting for the Democrat because that seemed like the better, more principled person in the race, or just the better person in the race. Like, the other person was more scary than the Democrat.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, and the Gunter race was a great example of that, is that you had a guy that was totally funded by the establishment that wasn't really an insult of a candidate. Didn't put his own stuff out on his website. He wouldn't get interviewed by people. He tried to, basically what he tried to do is say, I'm an R, and I'm just not going to say anything, and I'm going to hope that I can get a win.
And if I raise enough money, that's going to get me the win. And this is the whole problem with what I'm having with what the memos that they're putting out. Like, they basically have put out a score sheet now for every Republican in the House to make sure they're raising enough money individually, which that's the problem. That's why listen, in this race in District 36, it wasn't, and we talked to a lot of people. It wasn't that people overwhelmingly liked Obamacare or Common Core and Amanda was in favor of it. It was because she seemed honest and Bill Gunter seemed dishonest. And when you talk to enough people, that was the sentiment that we heard from many people, even Republicans that voted for her. It's like, well, I didn't really like some of the things that she was saying, but she seemed honest, and Bill Gunter just seemed like a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we do have a caller on the line.
All right. Caller, you're on the air, but before you get on the air and talk, just be aware that we are on AM Tan Talk 1340, so please keep your comments clean, because we don't want an FCC violation. Go ahead.
Will do, Alex. Hey, I hate to bring it back to Sheriff Finch. Apparently you covered that in the first hour and I missed it. But do we know whether he's getting any back pay and how much that back pay would be? Because that's how much Rick Scott's tantrum has cost the taxpayers, right?
Yes, he is getting back pay. Of course, I mean, and we can look at this. It is public record, but I didn't, I don't feel the need to go look and see what Nick Finch makes for the year. But he has been awarded back pay. He actually has to, within the law, he has to be awarded back pay. And we did, we talked about this in the first hour, but
okay.
That is exactly what this cost is, because not only did they pay Buddy Money, who was the interim sheriff, but now they also have to pay back pay to Sheriff Finch for that same time period that they were not paying him.
Well, not only that, though, now they got to change all the signs again.
And they do have to change all the signs again, because not only did normally they kind of put almost like a poster board over it, when there's an interim sheriff, but they actually removed the wording from the windows and redid them all.
Yeah, because they thought they were going to be able to get away with this.
I think all the money for at least some of that should come out of Rick Scott's campaign funds. I mean, he's got plenty anyway, But this was a political tantrum by Rick Scott. This should not be paid for by the taxpayers. And as a libertarian, I protest. But anyway, let me shut up about that, because what I'm really wanting to talk about is 100kstrong.net. If anyone in the libertarian audience, and I don't know how many of you are out there, is along that route where the Crusade's going to go. It's basically from Melbourne to Orlando to Tampa, and then they head north all the way up to the Panhandle. If you're along the route and near one of the places where we're going to be reaching out to veterans regarding cannabis and just treating them equally as they would be in other states, then I need your help. And if you're motivated enough, you'll look me up on Facebook, James M. Ray, R-A-Y, and find me, and I can send you something today, and we can help this effort, because right now, basically, the 100K Strong Net effort and the Florida Can effort is kind of being crowded out by Puffum. You know, the United for Care thing and the petition has kind of gotten all the money and all the attention. But what we're doing is very important here, and libertarians will get enormous credit if we can help me right now.
Absolutely. And the website that he's talking about is 100K Strong at 100kstrong.net. And what this is to get 100,000 veterans to help out in the battle for equal access to cannabis for medical reasons. I mean, don't get me wrong. I imagine a lot of us are pro full legalization, but in lieu of full legalization, going with something that would get help to the people that need it the most would be a good thing to be able to do. And we're totally on board. Matter of fact, for the when they come over to Pasco County, I'm actually going to be at the event myself.
Yeah, we will both be there.
Yeah, we'll both be over at the event. So highly suggest that people go to the website 100kstrong.net, find out when and where people are going to be at, and make sure you support them because, look, they're out there fighting for you.
Yeah, tell you what, Alex, either you or Danielle text me a good address, and I'll ship you one of the packets. It's got a couple of posters, a bunch of the schedules, and some of the explanation, and just it's nice cards. I mean, we can get them out, get them to all the veterans. I mean, we have a lot of people that support this. It turns out that this is a popular issue, and normally libertarians are stuck on the wrong side of unpopular issues. Here we are on the right side of a popular issue, and Tallahassee's against us, and we can kick their asses. All we have to do is work together and fight. But anyway, I'll shut up now.
I appreciate that.
So apparently you don't understand what we said from the beginning.
Yeah, that's all right. No big deal. You didn't go too far, so that was always good.
And he hung up.
Hey, look, did he really?
He did.
Yeah, he did. That's with the little bloop, bloop.
That's Charco, man. That's Charco for you. I like
Thanks,
Charco.
James.
Sure. Thank you very much, James. But he's right, though. Look, and we have to make sure that you can bring people together on the issues that they all agree on. This is one of the ones in which I would argue that libertarians for a long time have been making this argument, have been taking the slings and arrows for it. But because of that, they have actually, and it's not just them. It's not just them. There's a lot of people that are proponents of this that have done a lot of reach out, and they are Democrats, and they are Republicans, and they are Libertarians, and members of the Green Party, and whatever, and MPAs. And because of that, we do now have the majority of the population that does agree with us on full legalization as well as medical. I don't know if we have the full legalization numbers enough to be able to get it done. And by the way that's going on with Pam Bondi, are we getting into that? Are we doing that article as well today?
I was going to do it later on, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
But,
we'll get into that part.
We can do it. I didn't pull the article because I forgot.
It seems germane to the conversation right now because James called it.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to call in later. But no, not only, and we did talk about this last week, that Pam Bondi is actually going to take the United for Care petition to court, and she's trying to block it, but Will Weatherford and Don Gates have joined her. So your takeover of the GOP, Liberty Republicans, is failing.
Yeah, another example.
Because these guys are really willing to fight this out so that patients cannot get the medicine that they need just because it's cannabis.
Exactly. And to see, the other part about it is, you got to remember, all Puffum is trying to do is to get it on the ballot for you as a citizen to be able to vote on this. And that Will Weatherford, Don Gates, and Pam Bondi, all Republicans, are opposed to you being able to make the decision.
Right.
And what they're saying is, well, the ballot initiative is misleading. And, basically the other thing they're saying is you're not smart enough to be able to read it and make your own decision, that they have to make the decision for you, which is no. Even though all the polls show that actually 70% of the citizens of the state of Florida support medical marijuana and 56% support full legalization.
58%.
No, 58%
is full legalization. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, and what they're saying is that the summary of the bill doesn't completely match the bill, which, I mean, you
guys pass laws all the time that say that crap.
Yeah, for anyone who follows Tallahassee legislation, the summary never matches the actual legislation.
Oh, there's always some stuff in there that ain't going on. This is a more honest, but look, the medical marijuana petition and the wording is more honest than anything you guys have ever seen.
Yeah. So
That's why it's foreign to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
this
don't-
has got to be live.
wait a minute, I don't understand this. This looks really close.
There's no bait and switch in here. What's going on?
Yeah.
We can't have this. Yeah, so your Republican leadership, the Attorney General, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate President are all trying to block this petition. And like Alex said, this is not a petition to make this legal. I mean, this is not something where if the petition, gets through or gets the 1 million signatures that all of a sudden it's legal. This just puts it on the ballot for the people to decide. And they're trying to take away the voice of the people.
Yeah. Well, and that's typical for the Republicans, though. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it is typical for what they want to do up in Tallahassee. So, and it really does kind of, like, it sucks, but at the same time, you know what? Did we expect anything less coming from Will Weatherford's office or from Don Gates' office? Like, I didn't expect any less from these guys. These guys are typical authoritarian Republicans, and that's just the way it is. All right. Well, I guess Danielle's not ready necessarily just yet. But,
Sorry.
Clickety-clank.
now, in another special election, because Bill Young had passed away, we now have another special election in District 13. What is going on with that?
Yeah, now, and I'm actually surprised by how long they're actually prolonging this, because we actually talked about this on the last show, which I actually thought that you'd see a special election mid-January. That was my prediction. Now, you are going to see an election mid-January, but that's only going to be the primary. So you're going to have a primary election on January 14th. And then the actual special election is going to be on March 11th. And I just want to remind everyone that this doesn't change the term for Bill Young's term. He's still up for election in 2014. So that would mean you're going to vote in March 11th of 2014 who you want to replace Bill Young. And then also vote in November of 2014 on the actual term of District 13. So this is a kind of an odd thing to do, but there will be, if you are in the Congressional District 13, which is Pinellas County, and I think it's Mid and South Pinellas County. I think North Pinellas is Billerica. They're still District 12. But so you're going to see the primary on January 14th. The general election is going to be March 11th. That was just announced basically yesterday.
Yeah. Now, in that race, you're going to have Alex Sink now, the carpetbagger, who's going to now be moving into the district to try to win the seat. And if you don't know, this is the person that was the failed CFO. Really hurt a lot of the people in the state of Florida who are government employees with pensions because of her lack of ability to properly maintain the funds up in Tallahassee. And also, career politicians, been up in a bunch of different positions, so she's, well versed on, authoritarianism within the ranks. Somebody definitely you should never support. There's going to be a Republican. Don't know who that person's going to be just yet. There's a
few in the race.
There's a couple that are in the race right now. None really worth mentioning. And then you have Lucas Overby. Lucas Overby is a Libertarian. He's going to be in that special election, and we are hoping that Lucas is able to pull this out. So, and he's been campaigning for a while, so it's not like it's something new.
Well, because this was an election in November, no matter what.
Yeah. Right.
So he has been campaigning for the November election. Obviously with the passing of Bill Young, that kind of pushed it up. Well, it actually makes 2 elections in the same year. But so he's been campaigning for a while. I'm sure there's going to be a big name Republican that probably gets in this race. As of yet, we haven't heard that name. But Alex Sink is going to get in on the Democrat. There is going to be a Democrat primary because Jessica Ehrlich is not getting out of the race. So it will be Jessica Ehrlich and Alex Sink in a Democrat primary. There's a couple Republicans in the race. None of them are kind of what you would consider a big name Republican. So I'm sure one of them is going to get. I'm sure you're going to see a big name get in. But right now you're just seeing some other people who are Republicans in the race. And then, of course, Lucas, who has been, running a good campaign, has been campaigning for months, has a great team behind him. So, definitely check him out. And definitely, if you're in that district, go out and start helping them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is going to be a special election. The numbers are going to be very low. You're still looking at probably at the most, you're going to look at 20% that's going to vote in this primary.
Yeah, and I would say probably maybe not even. I think you're going to see about 15% voter turnout in this race.
Yeah. I mean, bringing in Sink getting into this race will add to it because it adds to the media. It adds to the media focus on it. Because there's going to be a whole lot in that, and we'll see who comes out on the Republican side too, because you never can tell. I mean, this was a Republican seat for how long was
3 years?
Yeah, 43 years, as long as Bill Young was there. But just the Republicans want to keep it, the Democrats want to steal it. It really should go to the Libertarians if that's the case, because these two can't agree. So just give it to the Libertarians. That's what we should do. Just don't vote for D's or R's. Vote for the Libertarian.
For sure. And I don't know if you guys saw this. I sent this to you last night in Clearwater. I was a little, and most of the time these surveys, there was a survey done in Clearwater. And I don't know if either one of you guys kind of took a look at this last night. It's actually, the demographics are changing in Clearwater. Clearwater has one of the oldest demographics in the state. And some of these things really, I could care less, okay, you studied Clearwater, that's great. I don't live in Clearwater, so for everyone who's in Clearwater, apparently you're all getting older.
The second oldest in the country.
Yeah.
Well, I do live in Clearwater, and I like getting older, because if I'm not getting older, that means I'm dead.
Right.
You could be getting younger.
I don't know of any way to reverse aging. If you do, let me know. I'll take it.
I'll talk to you later.
So, and this is actually what stood out to me in this, is that what this study said is that the city has a surplus of playgrounds and tennis courts, but has a deficit of volleyball courts and multi-purpose fields and bike trails. And you would say, okay, so what? Apparently, and I kind of looked at that and said, well, how do they know that there's a deficit of these things or a surplus of other things? But apparently, there are state guidelines on how many fields you should have, how many playgrounds you should have, how many public parks you should have. And that's what stood out to me in this study. Why is the state telling a county how many of anything it should have?
Yeah, that is actually kind of funny. Well, they have to read the UN playbook to figure out through Agenda 21 how many parks they should have.
Central planners.
This actually really bothered me, that there are state guidelines on how many playgrounds a county should have.
Well, I'll tell you this. I live in Clearwater. I have a 5-year-old, and he loves to go to the parks and playgrounds, and I am not seeing an overabundance.
Well,
I think it's just about right.
There is 21, and apparently that's too many, according to the study.
Are they counting the ones on school grounds also?
I have no idea.
Because I have not seen that many of them.
It says, according to the report, studies found that the city, just the city, has a surplus of playgrounds. It has 21. And tennis courts, 28, but a deficit of volleyball courts and multi-purpose fields and bike trails. Apparently you don't have enough bike trails. Now, and this is funny because I was a cyclist for years, and you guys actually have some of the best bike trails there are. I mean, in the state. I actually did one of my very first bike races in the city of Clearwater, and the trail was phenomenal. It was a 25-mile trail. It was great. 25K, which is 18 miles.
Yeah, Clearwater is very bike friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the best. I've seen better cities, but compared to a lot of other areas around here, it is very bike friendly.
Yeah. So, but apparently, you don't have enough bike trails in the city of Clearwater compared to the state standards. When can we just stop standardizing things?
Yeah.
I'm not having any fun.
I'm not having any fun. I mean, why is this? I just don't get it.
And part of the problem is, again, they're not figuring it out right. They're using wrong numbers in the first place. Clearwater is, the Clearwater economy is almost all tourism. So when you base what we have on the people who live there, you're not going to get a right assessment of our needs. Because, there may be more people who would be elderly who actually live there, but there are a lot of children who come with their families to vacation who need playgrounds.
And if they're saying that most of the people are old people, why do you need more volleyball courts? Like, is there like a big like old senior citizen volleyball leagues? Yeah.
I've seen people playing beach volleyball on Clearwater Beach, and most of them are not collecting Social Security.
I thought it was a little odd that the city of Clearwater is one of the oldest residential, residents are older than, almost anywhere in the country, but yet the deficit was volleyball courts.
Yeah, I don't understand the volleyball courts either, to be honest with you. I did think that was kind of funny. So, all right, well, we got to take a break. When we get back, we will be talking with Brandon Jones from the Global Dispatch for him to give us all the news that we probably missed, which I would imagine you could fit inside of the Grand Canyon. But Brandon goes about it in such a nice way that I really do like the way he goes about explaining it. So here get a couple of the what do they call that? Oh crap!
No idea what you're talking about.
No, it's the rush thing. It's the.
Did you guys hear that train wreck? As
Profit
Alex's
Center.
train of thought derailed and smashed into the station.
All right, you're listening to Liberty Underground. We'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground. If you'd like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom line is 1-800-525-4032. But on the line with us right now is Brandon Jones from the Global Dispatch. He will be on in just 1 second. I'm getting my finger, somebody's pointing a finger at me. So I guess that he has not officially made it over into the comm lines. He is he's in process, though, and now he is here. Brandon, good morning.
How are you guys?
Doing very well, sir. How are you doing today?
Well, I tell you, I'll begin by confessing that I've fallen in a bit of the one of the two traps that the Obama administration has for us. The first trap, of course, is information overload. They really did a good job during the AP phone scandal, IRS scandal, Benghazi scandal, etc., of just putting so much out there that you could really never even consume it all. You could never even get your head around it. I personally have fallen victim to strategy number 2 of just being somewhat fatigued. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm really just even sick of hearing the word Obamacare, let alone trying to keep up with all of the ridiculous pitfalls and problems that this, to use Jon Stewart's adjective, turd has about it.
Well, no, you know what I think it is? We spent a lot of time before talking about all of these problems and what was going to happen. It all happened, and now we're going back and basically saying a lot of the same stuff over again. But then all the new revelations of this is actually worse than we thought it was is a little weird. That I mean, this thing is worse than we thought it was going to be, and they can't even make a website to put it out. I mean, it's like almost $1 billion to make a website, and you guys can't get it to work. Like that really is utterly pathetic. And at this point, there should be criminal charges up on people for wasting so much of the taxpayers' money. I mean, it's again what they should. You know, Sebelius going up there was nothing more than political theater. But in all reality, what happened to all that money?
Well, and that is really one of the areas that if it were criminal to be wasting taxpayers' dollars, we wouldn't have any politicians because we'd be arresting them as fast as we could hire new ones, in my opinion. However, and you're absolutely right, and I think that's why, especially when you're in the media, you're doing things like we're doing. You guys do so much political advocacy. You've been speaking on Obamacare like we have since 2009, 2010, and to see it come to fruition and everyone acting like they're all so surprised at these different problems. There's quote, canceling of policies. Well, of course there's canceling of policies, folks. They implemented standards and requirements for coverages that you and I don't even care about having, let alone being required to have them. So I use the analogy with your car insurance. If tomorrow you woke up and it was illegal now to have a car insurance policy that didn't cover your oil changes, what's going to happen? They're going to drop your current policy and give you the new price on the one that includes the oil changes. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of sticker shock with that. And the beloved tax-subsidized alternative is hardly that.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. It really is pathetic. You know who did a really good video of this? It was actually Stefan Molyneux, who did one, because he really has I like the way he goes about doing these interviews or doing his presentation. But he put out something that was really good on this, where it really did a great explanation as to what the problem is. But even I went back, and for some reason I went back to a bunch of different articles that we had posted on 1787 Network, and the thing is that we called this a while ago. We said, look, people are going to lose their coverage. We said it again just recently. So it's great that the mainstream media is covering all of this stuff and talking about it. But at the same time, we knew this.
I think with millions of people actually getting the letters, they couldn't ignore it.
That's true. That's a good point, by the way. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
Well, our headline right now, and it really, I don't know how many people are actually catching on to this, is the NSA and their monitoring of Google and Yahoo is so bad and so in-depth that it angered the people at Google and Yahoo. And Snowden's outing of intricate details of the program, and he actually had featured a slide that is in part of the NSA presentation, which has a little diagram with little cloud bubbles and a little smiley face that explains how they have, for the lack of a better word, hacked into. They don't really have to hack into anything. They own the fiber cables that these people are buying, so they don't hack into anything. They just take what they want because no one tells them not to. The front-end Google servers, and therefore they're basically getting yours and mine and any other person who ever uses Google or Yahoo's information, which of course is most of the planet. And people at Google, I guess, for political reasons or the fact that they thought because they were spending so much money for these secured lines, they thought that they were sort of beyond the scope of being monitored by the NSA. So it has not set well at Google or Yahoo.
No, you're absolutely right. Depending on how far you think the rabbit hole goes down on places like Google, they use, so many people use Google. So many people use Google that if they're compromised, then everybody's compromised.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's safe there.
I think until this point, though, people really felt like Google was handing over documents. Google was, like most of the people, most of what's come out with the phone records and all that, was like, well, we're handing over information. What's different about this is the NSA program that shows they're going and taking information, and that's what didn't sit well with Google. I think Google thought they were further upstream and more protected than, let's say, even Joe Blow Public, and they are to a certain extent. But the problem is the NSA is not going to waste their time by tracking you and me personally. They're going way upstream from you or me personally. We're just caught up in the collateral, and then they filter all that down later on.
Mm-hmm. Nope, yeah. Absolutely. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
An amazing free speech story with our headline for a day or so. If you have not seen them, there is a cancer awareness bracelet. It is called the I Heart Boobies campaign. It's raising breast cancer awareness. These have provoked a school in Pennsylvania. These two girls refused to remove their cancer bracelets on Breast Cancer Awareness Day, mind you, in Pennsylvania, and got themselves suspended. Now, this has actually gone through Pennsylvania courts and may actually ultimately have to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, and definitely embodies the insanity of a totalitarian education system.
Yeah.
And kudos to the young girls, because at the time they were ages 12 and 13. And, I have to say, kudos to them and their parents that they just stood up for what they believed was the right thing to do. And even though the authorities, the people who were supposed to be in the position of power, told them to take it off, we have a ban on it, they both said no. And I think that, I have to acknowledge, at that young age to be able to do that shows a lot of courage. And I, for one, am glad that there's kids out there that would do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A couple of brief hits. Israel did have a very high-profile strike in Syria, taking out a Russian missile storage area there. Assad, of course, is feared that he will channel weapons out of Syria to Hezbollah in Lebanon to rise up against Israel. So they have proactively done another strike there. That's about their fifth this year. So for those people, or if you want to have evidence to go against people that believe we have to support Israel, which I do believe, but I don't believe we need to support them militarily. I think they have things well under control, and this is evidence of that.
Yeah. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
A great 60-minute video and coverage on Benghazi. Again, another issue with the fatigue syndrome. Whenever it happened, we've been talking about this for well over a year now, what really happened in Benghazi. We had talked about and broke about the gun running and the different conspiracies about them leaving these poor men just to die. Basically, we didn't offer any help. Nobody came. And 60 Minutes finally broke down and actually did some coverage. And it actually has at least raised some awareness. It has raised some sort of sense of urgency in some circles in the press and that kind of thing. So all of that really can't be anything but a good thing, because the Benghazi fiasco is really demoralizing, I think, to our military. I mean, we've always, worst case scenario, whether you agree or not with the missions or whatever, many of these folks, they're carrying out orders. And one of the things is, if I ever got in trouble, I know they're going to come and help me. And Benghazi is a turning point and a pivot point where that's not necessarily always the case. And that's very, very disheartening, I think, for our soldiers and folks that are in harm's way.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, if you think you're going to be in trouble and the reinforcements aren't going to come and get you, that's not good. It's not going to be pretty bad for you. One other thing that came up, and I've seen this in a lot of different circles, and I see that you did post something about it, was Russell Brand's comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we covered that on our radio show on Saturday last week as well. Russell Brand, I called it my Socialist of the Week, came out and discussed how much he thinks we need to have not only redistribution of wealth, but we really need to downplay the role of profit. It was interesting because, there's really no one there. It's like the BBC folks are going to challenge him and say, listen, are you going to start working for scale on all these big budget movies? Are you going to start donating your multi-million dollars of income to the crew on the movie? How about that? How about if we start with that, Russell? You're going to give the grip $100 million. You're going to give the best boy, $50,000, whatever it may be. But, of course, that never really happens. It's just another Hollywood spin on how great socialism is.
Yeah, I never have figured out the people that make millions of dollars like this are calling for everybody else to not make, to not worry about profit. I mean, I always thought this about actors. Like, some of these guys I thoroughly do enjoy as actors and actresses and stuff. But you're not good enough to make the kind of money that you're making by just being an actor or an actress without the profit motive being there. You know what I mean? Because unless they're making profit on the movie that you're starring in, they're not able to pay you that exorbitant salary that you, in all reality, weren't even good enough to necessarily earn. I mean, I guess if, you earn whatever they're going to pay you for it, but, that money's coming. That money is not coming from hardworking people initially. They have to actually put it all together through, the loans that they're getting from the bankers anyway. So, you're just getting the money to hire
extremely hypocritic system whenever most movies are filmed outside of the United States so they can dodge the taxes that have to be paid in those local municipalities. So most movies that you're seeing are being filmed in Vancouver and other areas around the globe so they can dodge some of the taxes.
Yep.
So there's also that hypocrisy as well.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of it. It's just, like I said, I always do find it funny when these guys, when guys like Russell Brand get out and try to run their mouths about how we need this and we need this. Hey, you know what, guy? How about you lead by example?
Right.
Go ahead and do that for me first before you start doing anything.
That's why I never pay attention to any of their lip service that they pay until they start putting their money where their mouth is.
Well, that's it. They're, and they'll even say like, well, I think I'm paying too little. We'll write a check then. That's
what got me blocked and banned from the Warren Buffett fan page when he came out a couple of years ago and was talking about how, I know all the rich people and we'd all love to pay more taxes. I wrote him a note on the Facebook fan page. I'm like, hey, if you feel that way, you can go to pay.gov right now. Here's the website. Right. You can write them a check, and you can even tell them where you want your money to go. I want it to go to Department of Education. I want it to go towards the national debt. You can voluntarily give the government as much money as you want and tell them where to put it, and they will do it.
Yep.
So put your money where your mouth is, write the check, go pay more taxes. Don't force everyone else to do it. That's not what you need to do. Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
Exactly. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
Well, someone that appears to not be paying as many taxes as everyone would like would be Google. Google's in the news again for dodging their tax responsibilities. Britain has actually opened an investigation because of the way they're running their tax shelters through Ireland into a Bermuda tax sheltered account, which, of course, is all, quote, quite legal. But Google's so big, of course, they can create little subsidiaries and little quasi-businesses in the appropriate district to filter money through to dodge paying billions of dollars in taxes. Nothing that is new. Google has been in the news for this in the United States. It just happens to be creeping up again in a couple other countries.
Wow. Imagine that. Somebody trying to get away from taxes. Could you believe that? That's amazing. I mean,
I don't know why they don't like these taxes.
Yeah. Boy, it means maybe we shouldn't do them. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm crazy. What else is out there, Brandon?
Well, we'll turn to where you want to go. As far as pop culture and weird news and all those kinds of things. We'll have a little bit of everything for those of you that like it. I don't know. Are you guys caught up now on Revolution? Or have you even been watching that? Or that was your big thing besides Walking Dead, right?
I am completely up to speed on Revolution, and I got to tell you, it's almost like they've done too many twists and turns, but I am very eager to see how this thing rolls out. But at this point, they're basically equating the Patriots, which were the U.S. government, to Nazis. Because they're making re-education camps for those guys. The militia, which in the last season was a bunch of bad guys, is now, I guess, a bunch of good guys who are fighting the government. You got Texas in the mix, which is the great nation of Texas now. So they got a whole different category. But now they're working with the U.S. government. And they killed the one guy, but I think they actually she was seen at the end digging him up. Like, I don't think she actually killed him. There's a lot going on in this show, I got to tell you.
Yeah, I have to say there's and I did miss a couple episodes that I haven't caught up on, but I'm caught up on the last couple. And there's so many twists I can't understand what's going on anymore. Like, I'm almost not enjoying it because everything is a twist.
Yeah. What's your take, Brandon?
I definitely agree with you a lot of that. But what I do like about that element of it, this would be the element of chaos that would ensue without any structure at all. This is anarchy. This is what it would be like. No one knows who's in control. You have no idea who's good guys and bad guys. Good guys today are bad guys tomorrow, and vice versa. So that aspect of the show I actually have found appealing, but it is very challenging, and it is not as easy and entertaining of a show as it once was.
Yeah. No, that's really is a good way of putting it, because it is, and it could get better. Like like maybe they had to put all this stuff out in order to have it play out. So if starting next week the twists and turns are a little bit more not radical, because it seems like too many of them are like coming way out of left field with stuff. And maybe if they stop doing that or are able to start putting it together, which I think they're doing, or I think they're trying to do with it. We'll see, but I am liking it though, and I'm liking The Walking Dead too. I think that The Walking Dead has been a good series as well.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic show. Anyone that has given it much of a chance usually is a big fan of the show and realize that it's not really as much about the zombies as it is the social drama and the social structure, and the humans are as much of a problem, if not a greater problem, than the actual walkers are. So, fantastic time for television, that's for sure.
Do you think there's two really good shows out there, and it's nice to be able to see both of them. And like I said, it was, it's, again, those are kind of ones I enjoy. Like before this, like I enjoyed Dexter. Thought that was a really good show. I thought Sopranos was a phenomenal show before
I didn't
that.
like how it ended though. I was a big fan of Sopranos.
Yeah, I didn't like Sopranos how it ended. I liked how, everything that was going on there. They didn't have a good ending. And the other thing, and this is what you're talking about with Revolution when it comes to, because everything is such chaotic, that's why the script is, and the way that they're working the show is like that. Sopranos did the same thing with Paranoia, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And because what they would have is so many things that were unfinished that could have caused somebody to get shot that they never finished. Like, remember like out in the woods when the Russian got away from the guy they were trying to kill, and the Russian got away, you always thought that was going to come back and haunt them, and it never did. Mm-hmm. Like, but whenever you're watching it, you're always paranoid to see if something was going to happen.
Yeah. You never know when one of those elements is going to come back.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
How can he be done? He never even got to say anything. We can't blame the mic this time.
Yeah. Now, what else is going on out there, Brandon?
Well, I get to see Thor on Monday. Thor comes out next Friday, so we'll be kicking off really, this is where it really starts to get kick into high gear for the fall movies, because we have Hunger Games that comes out, you have Hobbit, and a ton of stuff in between. But Thor is obviously a huge tentpole film and a massive turnout. Ender Games starts today. I haven't had a chance to see that yet, but I'm got my sci-fi eyes on that. I may try to take that in as well. So
yeah, I want to see
that. Check out on the Global Dispatch.
Yep, that's right. His name is Brandon. The website is theglobaldispatch.com. Sorry about that. Brandon, thanks for calling in, brother. We appreciate it.
I
You
do.
guys have a good win and talk hard.
Talk
Talk
hard.
hard.
Talk hard. Well, we're not done yet, so what were you going to say?
No, I actually had to say it to Brandon.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
But he's gone now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Danielle. Well, the hour is coming up. I know that we have discussed a lot of the different stuff, especially with the Clearwater or the special election in District 13. What were you going to say?
I was going to say
We still have 3 minutes, so.
Yeah, we still got some time.
Okay. You say things like the hour is up, and we're looking around going, wait a minute, we still have 3 minutes. What is he talking about?
I got you. Go ahead if you got something that you
No,
want to
I
add.
didn't. I didn't. You just don't understand what I'm talking about.
I got you. All right. So,
No, you don't. That's the point.
Me and Greg looked at each other like, wait, what? What is he doing? Where is he going?
Like, wait a minute. My clock does not say that this hour's over.
I got you.
So we both just kind of looked at each other with this look, and then you're like, what? What?
And now this is awesome radio, because now we are closing the show with confusion.
It's like we're on Revolution. If you got something to say, though, go ahead.
And now he's looking at you with this serious face like,
I'm not saying another word to the end of the hour, so go ahead. Bring up what you want to bring up.
I didn't have anything to bring up. Well, you stopped in the middle of a sentence because we had a look. So I was explaining what the look was for.
Oh, I got you.
and she wanted to say something else to Brandon, but he's gone, so it's not like she can come back and say it to Brandon now.
Oh, I got you. Always leave the opportunity. Whenever I stop talking, we got dead air. So I better keep talking then, I guess.
Chaos with libertarians.
Yep. Well, like I said, there's only a couple minutes left until the hour is going on. Let me make sure it's 10:57. We stop at 11 p.m., so I'll make sure I'm factually correct here. The website we have is 1787network.com. It is a 3-hour show, not a 1-hour show. So there is another hour after this hour if you go to 1787network.com. And at the top, you'll actually have a link up there for our YouTube channel because we are live on YouTube. You can actually go to the YouTube channel and take a look at what we're going to be going on in the third hour. Coming up is going to be some more information on Obamacare, some more information on Common Core, and your calls. So if you want to call in the program and talk in the third hour, the number is 1-800-525-4032. That is 1-800-525-4032. Alrighty then. Oh, what's going on there?
Whoa.
Whoa. Oh.
What is going on here?
Oh, now it's just some things getting messed up on the 87 network as well. Well, this hour ended up turning out horribly bad, so that was always good. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and take a break.
Yeah, we're getting a feed loop back to us, so
To them.
yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and close out the hour.
Yeah.
I
Let's
think.
go ahead and close our hour. You listen to 1787network.com. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground, hour number 3. If you would like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom line is 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032. Pretty exciting show so far. Where would you guys like to go now?
Well, a lot has been going on with Common Core, as the counties have been implementing it all around the state. And here in Pasco, actually, where there's a large amount of people who are actually trying to get rid of Common Core, stop the implementation. But apparently our school board here is not as in tune with the people.
Our Republican school board.
The all-Republican school board, actually, because they're actually adopting a resolution to support Common Core standards and are urging Tallahassee to implement it basically as fast as they can.
Yeah, to fully implement it, because they want to be able to track all the students. They want all the data. They want it all right now. They want to be able to say exactly what's going on. And this is another reason why we absolutely need vouchers in Florida, because we need to take the power away from the school board here in Pasco County for sure. You're dealing with a ton of authoritarian central planners on the school board, and they just love them some Common Core.
Yeah, and what they're saying is basically that this isn't a curriculum and that this isn't a federal takeover or federal mandate. And in a way that is true, and in a way it's spin. Technically, it is not a federal mandate. What it was a carrot and a stick approach by the federal government, saying these are the standards. You can accept them or not, but if you don't accept them, we're not giving you any more money. And since you have to balance your budget, I don't know how you're going to do it unless you do Common Core. So, there wasn't a mandate of you have to do it, but it was if you want any more money from us, you are going to do it. So, in that regard, what they're saying is factually correct, but it's, pretty much spin. They're also saying that it's not curriculum, which is true. It isn't curriculum, but the standards are so strict and structured that the curriculum has to be basically identical to everywhere else because of the strict interpretation, the strict writing of the standards. So you can really only use one curriculum to get to those standards. So even though they're not mandating a curriculum, they've made the standards so strict to where you can only use one to be effective.
Well, to pass the tests that they want you to pass.
Right. So, I mean, as much as, and in Pasco County, and this is happening in counties all over the state, they are telling parents, well, there's a lot of misconceptions. Well, no, there's no misconception here. I can tell you exactly that, okay, I'm saying it's a curriculum, you're saying that it's not. Technically, it's not, but it is at the same time. You're spinning it to say that it's not. Where all the facts lead to, you can only use one curriculum to reach the standard. And if you have to reach the standard and you can only use one curriculum, guess what? It's a curriculum.
Yeah,
it's a mandate.
And that's a mandate.
You don't have to use a number 2 pencil on this test, but the only way your test will be graded is if it's done in a number 2 pencil.
Right. So it's your option.
It's not a mandate that you have to use a number 2 pencil. It's an option.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's exactly what they've done on this. And there is a bill up in the House right now that will put Common Core on hold for 1 year. It doesn't stop it. It doesn't get rid of it. But it does put it on hold for 1 year so that it can be studied more effectively in the state of Florida. Although it's, I would like to see it repealed completely. I at least would like it to be stopped so at least we have some more time to fight this. But one of the things that parents are finding out right now, because report cards did just come out for basically every student in the state got report cards, maybe not on the same day, but sometime last week. And students' report cards are reflecting a new grading standard. So a lot of parents are now starting to wake up to what Common Core is actually doing, because at least in elementary school, a lot of students who were, A straight A students or A and B students are now seeing lower grades. And this is lower. I mean, if you were a D student, now you're seeing Fs. Most students are seeing lower grades because of the increase of standards of Common Core. And it's not really necessarily an increase of the standards, but just it's a different way of grading, and it's a different way of teaching altogether. And students haven't adjusted. But what they're saying is, well, we're just holding our students up to a higher standard, so that means their grades are going down.
It's anytime you institute something new, you're going to have something like this. I mean, even if you were to institute good things as opposed to federal takeovers, you're still going to have some change, and that's what you're looking at here. But at the same time, again, it's what they're, and I've watched this. I went to my son's school, and they have a little pamphlet of how cool Common Core is. I mean, it's not called How Cool Common Core Is, but
it's pretty close.
Yeah, and in that, they are talking about how this is going to increase critical thinking, like all the stuff that you would actually want to see. They're talking about how it increases. But we know the truth, though, and the truth is not that. And again, I have more faith and trust in the local teachers than I do with the central planners. Mm-hmm. In that aspect, I and again, well, minus the school board that we have here in Pasco County, because obviously these people are a bunch of good little authoritarians. But I want the people at the end of the day to be able to make the decision as to what's best for their kids, and this is not happening. With this Common Core program. It's just not happening. But it's a systemic problem, though. It's not even a Common Core problem. It's a problem within the system itself. It's a problem that you don't, as a parent, get to make the decision as to what what school your child gets to go to. But the reason that you don't, or that you're not able to make this decision, is because you have a lot of people in office that just think that you're an idiot, and that we're going to do the things that we think are best for the kids, and screw your opinion. Basically, you're noted, go away, whatever. So that's what you have going on here. And it goes right from the school board up. That's why you have to remove the ability of these people to be able to make decisions that affect your kids' lives.
Yeah. I knew that there was something wrong with Common Core at the most basic level when we went to the orientation for my son. My son started kindergarten this year. We went to the orientation, met with the teacher. All the parents were sitting there in the classroom. And just the trepidation in her voice when she's explaining the changes that have come down because of Common Core, and how, well, we used to do it this way, now we have to do it this way because of Common Core. She didn't seem confident that the change was better. Mm-hmm. She didn't seem to, she wasn't, sending confidence out in the way she was talking about this. She kind of seemed to have the attitude of, well, this is what we've got to do. We're going to have to see if it works. She didn't seem confident that it would. And that's what really made me think, obviously all the teachers aren't on board with this. They can see exactly how this changes things, and they're not real sure that this is going to be in the best interest of their students, but they have no control either. Mm-hmm. The parents and the teachers, the two most important aspects of a child's education, have zero control anymore. And they should be the ones that have all the control.
And some of the changes in Common Core are actually quite scary. And they're very kind of politically motivated. And bringing that political motivation into the classroom. Kids aren't reading the fine arts anymore. They're not reading Shakespeare except for, very few works. They're not reading A Tale of Two Cities and things that were, fiction that most of us were required to read in school. Now they're reading, a newspaper article and they're asked how they feel about it. But a lot of times it's kind of almost political, like, how do you feel about, this foreign policy issue? And now that you've read this, do you still feel the same way? And it's almost cataloging how our children will be politically, or how they feel politically about issues at a very young age. And it's databasing that. Mm-hmm. And that's a scary thing to be adding into a curriculum at all. But that's what we're seeing all around the country. And they're doing, psychological evaluations on children as young as in kindergarten to see what career path would be best for them.
My child is in kindergarten, and he has changed his career path 30 times within a day. He's gone from wanting to be a paleontologist to wanting to be a dentist to wanting to be a fireman in the course of a day. So I don't think that it's at all reasonable to say, hey, we can do a psychological profile on these children in kindergarten and determine exactly what they're going to want to be when they grow up.
Right.
Because it's not going to be true.
Yeah, why would you want to do that? How many times have these people been wrong?
Yeah, their track record doesn't give me confidence.
Track record for government officials is not very good. So putting something like this in place is saying, well, we're just going to be able to tell people what job they're going to have moving forward, and we'll put them in that category. Like, who the hell do you think you people are?
And isn't finding children and putting them on their career path at a very young age and not giving them a chance to change it, isn't that exactly what went on in communist Russia all the years we were told how evil they were?
Yes.
Wasn't that the kind of stuff we were supposed to be hating the Russians for?
Mm-hmm. No, they're just doing it wrong.
They didn't have the endorsement of the U.S. government to do that.
Our central planners are much better than their central planners.
Clearly.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and it is. You're right. That is exactly what communist Russia was doing during the Cold War. Exactly that with education. And that is exactly what the U.S. was saying, well, look at what they're doing to their people. And now we're doing it. And, I have a daughter who's in middle school. And all throughout elementary school, she loved the show Cake Boss. And she still is a huge fan of anything on Food Network. She will literally watch Food Network the entire weekend if you let her. And she always wanted to be a cook or a baker or, that was... And now that she's a little older and she's getting into, junior high and things like that, she's like, I I really enjoy that, and that's fun, but I think I want to be a pediatrician. So if you had evaluated her all through elementary school, she would have been very consistently wanting to be a cook or a baker.
Mm-hmm.
But now that she's in that preteen stage, is like, well, man, I enjoy that stuff, and that's a cool hobby, but I think I want to be a pediatrician.
Yeah. And what do we need more of? What's more important? Yeah. Do we need another baker, or do we need another doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. I kind of, if they make good cupcakes, though.
For every baker, we need another doctor.
At least a dentist.
For every baker, we need a doctor and a dentist.
I would at least say that I would question. I would make her really think about it with the implementation of Obamacare if she wants to be a pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if that's what she wants to do and she's willing to put in the time and the effort to do that, and then that's fine. I mean, I'm definitely all about her making her own choices for her life, down the road. I would definitely want her to look into the medical field a little more seriously before deciding to get into it, because Obamacare tends to be a little I'm looking at the implementation of Obamacare as much more scary than regulations on bakers.
Yeah.
That is kind of funny.
You're actually going to have a more free life as a baker than you will as a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I may be doing a little pushing of making sure that she studies the regulations that will be placed upon her in both fields and asking her to choose what she feels is best. But Obamacare to me is the more scary of the professions. So if it was me, I would suggest against it. But, and just I think that Obamacare has been abysmal failure. But also, there is, and if she wants to be a pediatrician that goes more of a direct care kind of model for her business, I will definitely be more supportive of that choice.
Oh.
She'd probably be better off being a veterinarian, actually.
Yeah. All right. What else is going on out there? What else are we going to talk about today?
Well, I just did a pretty good segue into Obamacare and the direct care option. I was hoping someone would pick up on that.
Oh.
Wait, if you were hoping it was me, then you forgot. I don't do the show prep.
Yeah, well, you're right. We'll go into that part, too. One of the good things that you're finding out right now is that you're seeing a movement afoot, and we've talked about this before, but you're seeing a movement afoot to go to direct care, because that actually is the solution anyway. The problem was with the insurance companies to begin with, but it was more of the relationship that those insurance companies had with government, and the fact that they can put all these restrictions on them. It goes with, like, when Obama talked about how you can keep your plan, he was totally lying when he said that, because he couldn't sell it if he told the truth. I mean, he actually said that, well, we're going to have minimum standards that most of the insurance out there does not meet, and that by having these minimum standards, we're going to end up most of you are going to end up losing your insurance. If he would have said that, then people would have actually been able to have a better understanding as to what Obamacare was meant to do, and it was meant to really destroy the insurance industry, because they do view the insurance industry as the bad actor in all of this, which they are.
But they're not the only one.
But it's not because they were for profit. That's not the reason why, though. The reason why is because the government puts so many regulations on these guys, and they have to end up raising the cost because they have to cover these things. It's like a lot of people are losing their coverage, or the prices are going up, and they're going, yeah, those evil insurance companies. It's not their fault this time.
Yeah.
They have to abide by these stupid regulations that the current administration decided to put in there. That's what they did. There's no getting around that. That's what they did. You cannot blame the insurance companies for that, because it's not like you can not opt to be covered for this or not opt to be covered for that because you're not a woman and you're not going to get pregnant if you're a guy. Like, that's the one that really kind of irks me the most is that, look, do women have to end up paying more in health insurance because they have kids? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they do. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. And the reason it's not is because Because they're a woman.
They're gonna
and
get
that's
more
what
care.
they do. I mean, again, this is science. I thought you people were pro-science. Obviously, you're not pro-science, because if you were, you'd realize that men and women have different bodies and different types, and they do different stuff. Again, and men don't need maternity care. Some politician actually was like, "Yeah, men need maternity care too." No, they don't. You dumbass. You know what's wrong with you? You're stupid, and that's what you have. A bunch of stupid people now making laws. You have a bunch of people that are making laws that couldn't get a website running. Yes. That's what you have. I'm going to give you $1 billion, get the website running. If you can't get the website running with $1 billion, I don't want you anywhere near anything. I don't want you to be the dog catcher in a town.
I don't trust you running a ride at a carnival.
I don't trust
and the
you
people who run those rides are kind of scary. And I think they're better than you.
Yeah, look, I don't want you running an egg timer.
You know, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but while Kathleen Sebelius was testifying before the House committee, she was actually talking about what a wonderful job they were doing to fix the malfunctioning site. And as she was saying it, the site went down.
Yeah. The site went down.
Like, literally, as she's talking about how they're fixing it and, you know, all these great fixes that they've come up with and basically how the site can't go down anymore, it actually went down.
We've been working so hard on getting this site back up. I think you're all going to be very proud of us. And
we're done.
And it's down again.
So I thought, you know, that was just... And, you know, this whole thing, Obama knew from the beginning that they were raising the standards of the insurance policies, and millions of people, and in the study before Obamacare was even, you know, passed into law, they had done a study that basically said, you know, up to 65% of the people who are currently insured are not going to be able to keep their policy. So he knew that the majority of people were not going to be able to keep their policy. So when he was up there saying, if you like your plan, you'll be able to keep your plan, he knew right then and there that was a lie.
Yeah, he totally knew it was a lie. He absolutely knew that he was lying when he said that. And, I mean, this just goes to show you, you know, a lot of times we always mess with the Republicans and we kind of leave the Democrats, or it's claimed we leave the Democrats alone. That's totally not true. But let me give this instant up to just say what a complete liar that Barack Obama is. Look, and this is what these guys do. This is what Democrats do, is that they lie to you to get something put through. And then when they get it put through, they change their argument up with you to be like, well, we really weren't arguing that anyway. We were really arguing this. What? You know, like, well, you know, you guys should have known that we wouldn't be able to keep these plans that are out there. It's almost like blaming you. Like, how dare you believed us when we said you were going to be able to keep your plan? You're an idiot if you believe that, because you knew that we weren't going to be able to do that, even though we were saying, like, the thing is we argued with them. We're not going to be able to keep our plans. No, you're absolutely going to be people. Quit fear-mongering people, right? So then we get proven right, and they're like, well, you're fear-mongering people now. They knew. You're trying to say we didn't say that. Like, you authoritarian scumbag psychopaths. And to be honest with you, Barack Obama, this is just another thing. He lied. He lied to the American people. I think it's an impeachable offense. I think he should be impeached from office. Matter of fact, though, Barack Obama should be thrown in jail for this.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, Kathleen Sebelius, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, jail for all of them. Jail. Just put them in jail, lock them up, throw away the key. You've wasted enough of our time and money and resources. We don't need you in office any longer. You are, in all intents and purposes, just communists.
Yeah, and I mean, now it's coming out that the person, you know, the people who won the bid for the contract to build the website were also huge donors to the Obama campaign.
Imagine that.
You know?
Oh, what a surprise.
So, you know, I mean, you know, we always talk about the corruption in the GOP. The corruption runs rampant in both parties, you know, and, you know, obviously they weren't up to the task because the website keeps failing. But of course, because they were huge Obama campaign contributors, they won the bid to get the site. The site has done nothing but fail. And, you know, and the whole law, the more you hear about it, just even Democrats are saying, well, wait a minute, if I had known this, I wouldn't have voted for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
those are the ones I really don't want to hear from.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to hear anything from you. If you're a dim that goes, well, you know, I didn't realize this was going to happen. You know what? Shoot yourself in the face. Shoot yourself directly right in the face. But like I said, this thing's going to die anyway, though. This Obamacare is going to die. There's no getting around it. It's dead. And really, because one of the reasons is because nobody can get on. The first day, they got 4 people on. 4. Like 200 something the second day. Like
millions of Americans are going to get coverage that never had it.
Yeah.
No, 4 Americans got coverage.
But you lost millions.
But yeah, millions lost it. 4 got it.
Yeah, millions get dropped. 4 get on. Wow, those are great numbers for you guys, boy. That's something to be proud of. Something to be really proud of. That's why they didn't want to give the numbers. I'm sorry, 6 enrollees on the first day. 6 of them.
6.
Oh, my bad. 6.
Well, I mean, that's an increase of like 20%.
Yeah, it's a 20% increase, man. It's amazing.
But, and there's a story out on Ben Swan, on benswan.com, and I actually do like this, because a lot of people are still saying that the Supreme Court should kill Obamacare. And actually, there is and he was a physician until Obamacare. His name is Michael Lotfi, and he's been writing about Obamacare on benswan.com pretty, you know, incessantly. But he's been really, really accurate on a lot of things. And this is another one where he says, you know, listen, stop wanting the Supreme Court to kill Obamacare, because that's not the way to do this. The way to do this is actually through state nullification. Because the Supreme Court was never supposed to be the be-all, end-all to the law. They were not supposed to base, you know, when the Supreme Court says it, that becomes the law of the land. That was not what the Supreme Court was for, which is why their rulings are called opinions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even called a ruling, it's called an opinion. Because that's all it is supposed to be, is an opinion.
The funniest part, the funniest part about their opinion on Obamacare after it all came out, there was about 25 people who were smart enough that came out instantly and pointed this out. The reason it was upheld by the Supreme Court is because it's a tax.
Right.
That's the only reason it was upheld. And these people that were smart enough to realize it came and said, yeah, you're right, which is why it's unconstitutional.
Right.
Because it originated in the Senate, and a tax can't originate in the Senate. That's part of the Constitution as well. So if you're going to say it's okay because it's a tax, that means we can't pass it because it did not originate in the House. So one way or another, you broke the law to pass this law. Right. It is illegal. It does not abide by our Constitution one way or another.
Yeah. You know, but basically what he's saying, and he makes a good case for it if anyone's, you know, looking for it, it actually makes the case for why there should be more state nullification. That the states and the people should be the last arbiters of whether a law is constitutional or not.
Yes. I hate to interrupt, but I want to chime in for a special announcement. Nobody knows what I'm going to say here, including the 2 people in this studio. This is from Brian Collar, the director of Florida Patriots, which is always a great organization. We love them. We loved them before this. We love them even now. I'm going to read to you the letter that he has written, and it was just posted many minutes ago. Today I Stand is the name of it. Special announcement from Brian Collar, Director, Florida Patriots. Please take a moment to read. Please take a few moments to read. Florida Patriots and all friends of liberty. Today I have joined the Libertarian Party of Florida, and in doing so dedicate all political effort and energy to the restoration of personal liberty and the reestablishment of states' rights. With absolute conviction, I reject the belief that the Republican Party can be repaired. The GOP lacks the integrity, talent, and courage to defeat the Progressive Socialist Democrat Party. While I have been open to the reformation of the Republican Party in past years, it is now clear that they, on the whole, do not, and will not stand for constitutional government. While there are a few exceptions, the party's less progressive agenda is so infected by the terminal cancer of collectivism, communism or socialism, as to be beyond repair. The two largest parties are not opponents, but two versions of the same anti-liberty philosophy. This nation is now governed by a one-party system. It is corrupt. It is a threat to the freedom and future of all of us, and there is very little time left. Oh, and there is very little time left. We need a second party. Only the Libertarian Party stands firm in the constitutional foundation of these United States. Only the Libertarian Party remains focused upon personal liberty and the rights of the 50 member states. So how do we win in Florida? We choose victory. We, as individuals, must each answer these questions. Will I continue to support and vote for the lesser of two evils? Will I continue to give lip service to liberty and patriotic duty, yet play the election game and continue to vote for Republicans who do not stand for liberty once in office? Will I continue to be part of the problem and or be the solution? I have chosen to stand. I have chosen victory. I have chosen to fight. This is a numbers game. We must outnumber the enemies of liberty. We must remove them from authority over our lives. We demand that those entrusted at the guardians of our rights in Tallahassee stand as a bulwark against federal and all tyranny. He writes way too much above me. We refuse to capitulate. I like the word capitulate, though. We refuse to capitulate, cooperate, and facilitate the destruction of liberty. We stand boldly. We stand now. If you disagree, you are not going to take... Oh, if you disagree, if you are not going to take a real stand, please unlike this Facebook page. Wow. We, true patriots, will work on your behalf, but fair weather patriots are not welcome here. Whoa.
Whoa.
Damn.
I have a new man crush.
Hey, hold on a second, man. I got to tell you, somebody must have captured Brian Collar's Facebook account. That's what it is. Are you in? Damn, I love this guy. Are you in? Will you stand for liberty? Will you reject the failed practices and strategies of the past and pledge life, fortune, and sacred honor to the cause of liberty's restoration? Then take these 4 actions right now. 1, join the Libertarian Party of Florida, and they put a link there. 2, like and share the Florida Patriots fan book page. Have I done this already? Yes, I have. Like and share the Florida Patriots fan book page. Like and share this post. Send me an email at director@floridapatriots.com and tell me what you'd like. Tell me that you would like to meet with others ready to stand. Let there be no mistake. We will restore liberty in Florida. Choose a side, Brian Collar. Oh my gosh, Brian. Oh, I loved you before, brother, but oh man, that's just amazing stuff right there. That just makes my heart swim.
Yes, I have to say I got goosebumps halfway through because I was very excited to hear that. I have a lot of respect for Brian Collar, and we've really enjoyed working with him in the past. Was definitely very eager to work with him in the future. To see this just really, really makes me happy. Happy to have you back with us, Brian, and working towards liberty together in the Libertarian Party. I'm very, very excited about this.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's awesome, and I just did all the stuff he wanted me to do. I liked it. I shared it. I already had one though. I already did join. So I've already done that one first.
I'm going to like the page right now. and I'm going to find him and send him a friend request.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to Hootsuite this one out. So.
This is my new man crush. Sorry, Judge Napolitano, you have been moved out the way.
Oh, well, you still like him too, but
I still like him, but I have a new man crush.
Oh yeah, that was hot. That was so hot.
That was
actually really good. And again, I didn't even realize that was coming down the pipe, man. I was like, hold on, I got a message here. It's always nice to get messages like that when you're doing it. And look, here's the thing. What he's talking about, though, is, look, he tried. Look, we talked to Brian when he first put up Florida Patriots.
Yeah.
Is that he made a very concerted effort to go out there and do that. And you know what? I think what he came to the conclusion of was the same thing that a lot of us has come to the conclusion of. Like, you ain't going to be able to reform this, it's like what Adrian says sometimes, where he's like, you can't put wings on a dump truck and expect it to fly.
Right.
You know? You just can't do it. And again, I actually think that another thing that this had to do with was also the numbers this week.
Yes.
I think putting up the numbers and realizing that, if we do the work necessary, there are 2.5 million people already with us.
Yeah.
They're already part of us. They don't. Now the thing is that most of them are so libertarian they won't join the party.
Yeah.
Right.
Danielle pointed that out before, and I was like, you are absolutely right. They're so libertarian that they won't even join the party.
They won't conform to party structure.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. But I also think some of it is this. Look, a lot of them just haven't. Look, they just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Going to their door and asking them to join the party may not necessarily be exactly what they meant with being left alone. But I'm not going to ask you to do anything else. I'll ask you to do whatever you want to do. But here's the thing. Do me a favor. Just sign here saying you want to be a libertarian. Say that you want to be a member of the Libertarian Party. From here, if you want to do something else, hey, you know what, man? That's even cooler. But just sign here, and you don't have to get any more involved in that, and just go and vote.
Yeah.
You know, look up the party when it's time to vote.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, Alex, you know this. You and I have been out and gone door to door together.
Yes, we have.
And the response, I think a lot of the people that we talk to about doing this, they're afraid of doing it because of the response they're going to get. They're like, I don't want to knock on people's doors and they're going to be hostile. That is not the experience that I had. And you could back me on that. That is not what we've experienced in doing that. And as long as you're cordial and polite about it, and if they do answer the door and say, I'm not interested, I don't want to talk about it, whatever, fine. Walk
move
away.
on to the next one.
Go to the next house. It's not a big deal, and people are going to be far more receptive than you might think. If you're not going out into your neighborhood because you fear the reaction, because you fear that people are going to turn you away, it's an unfounded fear. People are ready for this. People want this. And the worst case scenario, not interested, don't want to talk about this, you walk to the next door. It's not a big deal. Nobody's going to insult you. Nobody's going to shoot you. Nobody's going to hurt you. It's not a big deal. Yeah,
the only ones you had to worry about before were libertarians, and you're going to their domes. You know, you're okay there. They're not going to shoot you.
Yeah,
they may not be happy with you being there either, but you know. And look, and you're going to get some people at times that think that it's not a good thing, But look, and you're going to engage in some conversations. But this is actually another reason. And we mentioned this. Look, when we go out there and talk to them, there's going to be people that go, well, what about the poor? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? That's why on Pasco's site, like we made on our own website, the PascoLP.org, which I'm trying to get to right now, which I'm having a hard time with, PASCO, okay, COLP.org. If you go there, because I want to actually be able to explain this for people that are listening, is in the About Us area. Yeah, it is called Community Solutions. In the About Us area in Community Solutions, if you click on this, it's actually going to give you some solutions. Now, right now, it only has one. We got a lot more we got to do. We got to put the Suncoast Co-op on there.
I just found another one, the United Way Soup Kitchen.
Oh, yeah, put them on there, too.
A Volunteer Way, that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's another good one to go to here. So we're going to put Community Solutions on here, people that are there to help people in the community. When you knock on somebody's door and they say, well, who's going to take care of the poor? Your response is,
you are.
Yeah. Well, in Pasco County, there's some organizations that are already set up. If you would like to get involved, it seems like that's an important issue to you, Mr. Voter. So if you would like to get involved, these are the people that you would actually get involved with. Whether it be to volunteer your time because you have enough money, or whether you need something, and these are the people that you'd want to go and see. So that's what we need, though, because it is a responsibility on all of us to make sure that, we take care of our fellow man. But if you want to be a stingy SOB, you're allowed to be. That's the beautiful thing about this country, and that's the beautiful thing about the party, is that we're not smart enough to think for you. You need to think for yourself. But we can help you when it comes to educating you on the right things. So that's a good thing. And Brian, again, kudos to you, man. And Brian's probably going to, if I'm not mistaken, depending on, and I haven't talked to him, we talked like 2 weeks ago.
He just accepted my friend request.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's listening to the show right now. So.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No. He was like, hey, love the show. By the way, here's what's going on. I'm like, oh, crap. What are we talking about this?
Oh, so that's how you found it.
Yeah. Some people call the free refresh telecom lines. Some people just message me on Facebook.
I do get a mix. I get messaged on Facebook while people are listening, too.
Yeah. So it's beautiful to be able to see this. And I think that you're seeing a lot more of this. And that's what... It's also why you're getting some of the pushback. Look, the reason that you're getting some of the attacks going is because these guys that are making the attacking are seeing their own people going, well, you know what, man, I really think that libertarian thing is the way to go. And then you're trying to keep them in there, and then you end up trying to keep them in with lies. And And, then you get found out for those things are lies, so you're looking even worse. But then you got to double down on the lie and say they're the liars and I'm not the liars. And it's a whole mess at that point, And like I said before, man, look, we need to use Facebook and social media for what they're for, and that's to organize.
Right.
Not to convert.
Right.
To organize. Yeah. Because the conversion is not done on the World Wide Web.
Exactly.
It's done at the local front porch.
It's done face to face.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, at this point, it's just asking and just go get enough people. From there, once we're a major party, then a lot of those. And again, this is where the fair weather fans are going to show up. It's like being a Bucks fan. Like you remember back in the day when they sucked. Yeah. Nobody went and watched the Bucks game. Nobody admitted it. Hungry House was giving away free tickets when you bought a pizza. For Pete's sake.
I did go to the games though. I'll admit it. I was in the old sombrero and the big orange shirts.
Yeah. But the thing is this, though. Once they became good, they had a season ticket waiting list of 40,000.
Yeah.
That's what they had. And then they could charge whatever they wanted to charge. They charge a whole bunch more money. Not saying the LP is going to charge a whole bunch more money or something. But when they got popular. But it's behooving on us that are already in the Libertarian Party to be the ones that grow it. It ain't going to grow itself. Like when you join, they're like, well, what are we going to, what are you guys going to do to build the numbers? No. What are we going to do? And more importantly, how many people are you going to get over? That's the question you got to ask. How many people are you going to get over? And honestly, the number you need is 110. That's it. 100. Just do 110. Don't do any more. I mean, if you want to do more, you can.
Yeah,
but don't do any less.
Say, don't do any more.
Like because me, my wife, Danielle. Now we all live in this house, but in the just a little down the road here, my mom lives there, so that's 4. So the 4 of us have made a commitment. Well, I kind of told them they had a commitment, and I haven't even told my mother about this. But actually, I did.
Yeah, well, because she's going on Saturday. Or
she's going on Saturday. We've made the commitment that we're going to go get 440 by September. By September of 2014, we're going to go get 440 between the 4 of us.
Yes.
And we'll help each other out. And we're going to, if other people want to be involved and we up the number and everybody's going to help everybody get to their numbers, that's fine too. I mean, that's awesome to be able to do. And I hope that we, in Pasco County, we get 110 people to do 110 people each. Like we need the 110 precincts to do 110 registered voters in every one of the precincts. If you do that and average that 110 out amongst all of the precincts in Florida, we will be a major party. It's not an if and or but or well they'll screw us over here or they'll screw us over here. The number's 5%. We hit the number, we're there. There's no getting around it. And then the media will be paying attention. You know why the media will be paying attention? Because that's a voter block.
Yeah, and it's a huge voter block.
And it's not like we're just talking trash. There's 5%. They've organized enough that they've earned the media that they need in order to do that more. Once that happens, that 5% is going to go to 15 quick.
Oh yeah, I think so. Well,
I mean real quick.
I just think the fact that the forward momentum will push a lot of people back into the party that have agreed with us. But, a lot of people hesitate because they're like, well, you don't swing elections. You're not, you know what I'm saying? And I think just the fact that we would hit the 5 would make us a voter block that swings elections. And you would see more people that had those reservations about our structure come over because that's been kind of addressed.
But before, it's not a voter block. Let's clear that up. It's not a voter block. It's a viewer block. It's people who buy from their advertisers. The media is all about the money and the power. They don't care about the voters. They don't give a damn about the voters. You've seen enough TV to know that by now.
No. What you're saying is true, and maybe I'm not saying it correctly. They have to because those people at that point are almost going to be demanded that they do it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to turn off their media, which they're already doing in droves anyway. This might be a way to get some of those people back into listening again.
Right, exactly. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to start accommodating these people because as more people like us flee the mainstream media and say, I cannot believe you're not putting out real news anyway, they're going to have to start accommodating other people.
Yeah.
Start accommodating our message and the things we do.
Hey, look, and the other thing I want to say, and this is where I kind of disagree with Danielle on this, we're swinging elections now, but it's not a recognizable block. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, independents always swing an election, and when I say independents, I mean MPAs, and a good number of them are libertarians, and they are swinging elections. But the word libertarian, our party isn't getting the credit for that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. No, that's true. That's why we need to do our job to make sure that we, and not to say we're getting credit for it, but that mindset is actually getting credit for it.
Right.
Because you're not going to get libertarians all vote the same way anyway. I mean, even if there's a libertarian in the race, some are going to go, I don't like that libertarian. I'm just going to either not vote or vote for that guy. Which, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing against the rules of the Libertarian Party, unlike the Democrats and Republicans that actually say that.
Yeah, we don't actually sign any loyalty to our candidates. They still have to be principled candidates to get our support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. In the Libertarian Party, you still have to earn the vote.
Yeah. Yeah, you still have to earn the libertarian vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
The Democrats and the Republicans don't just have to earn the libertarian vote. The libertarians have to earn the libertarian vote. Maybe that's why nobody wants to accommodate us, because we're so damn stubborn, no matter what. Even the things we like, we argue against.
Yeah. There's a little truth to that.
Yeah.
I mean, and there is, libertarians do. I mean, I think that the reason, and actually Dana, the chair of the party, said this in a forum a couple days ago, is that the quality of the candidates in the Libertarian Party is going up, and it's going up exponentially. And a lot of that has to do with just, you have to earn our support. And to do that, you have to be principled. And, so in doing that, we're seeing a much, stronger libertarians step up. You're seeing, much, good principled candidates stepping up. And the quality of our candidates is definitely increasing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely it is. I mean, if you go back and look, just basic conversations that we've had with candidates that are possibly going to be running here, in the next couple of years, we've seen some, what I've seen is definitely a step up in what has been going on with the candidates. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. What we really do need, though, is a lot more people to step up and run as candidates. Again, there's 18,000 elected positions in the state of Florida. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of politicians. And so in looking at that and seeing that many, elected offices out there, and we need regular people, too. You don't need, the scumbags to run. You need good, honest people to run.
Speaking of good, honest people running, we have a caller on the line.
Really?
Our good friend, the candidate for governor, Adrian Wiley.
Oh, Adrian Wiley. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, and I figured after hearing the second hour of the show, I needed to call in and salvage this train wreck of a radio show.
Oh. Yeah, go ahead, big guy. I saw your. Are you coming in to make official your written apology?
My written apology?
Yeah.
I don't know how much of an apology that was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Yes, you absolutely do. Because you did it. There's been a lot of talk about my 2012 election guide.
Oh, you consider that an apology?
Condolences? I mean, it sounds like you're making an apology here.
No, I was owning it. Are you kidding me?
Well, you're owning it and saying that, if I've embarrassed you. Well, here's the thing. I'll read what's been said here. So we'll go right down to it. There's been a lot of talk about my 2012 election guide, which was spot on. Specifically, my explanation of why I supported Representative Bill Young. Under the circumstances, my comments were insensitive and politically incorrect, but also completely true. I guess this wasn't an apology.
It's not an apology. It's like the worst apology ever if it was an apology.
Some members of my campaign staff have advised me to delete this article and disavow my statements. Nobody ever said to disavow the statements, by the way, so I'm just going to go ahead there. Due to the congressman's recent death, I do offer my condolences to Rep. Young's family, but I also stand firmly behind my remarks. The truth is always the right message, even when it is insensitive or offensive. Truth does not bend to sensitivity or emotion. Truth is steadfast and unyielding. I wanted to put this out before the media or my opponents did. Here is my recommendations for Representative Bill Young, which was published October 7th, 2012 on 1787network.com.
Well, there you go. That doesn't sound like an apology to me.
I guess it wasn't. Yeah.
And the reason, one of the reasons that I put that out today was the Off the Rails show on Wednesday evening.
Which went completely off the rails.
Oh, so you're blaming us? Are you blaming us?
Well, you brought it up.
We
You
didn't
brought it
really.
up publicly. I figured I better do something about
We
it.
didn't really bring it up.
We
though.
didn't bring it up. I said I wanted to. Well, no. Wait a minute. What I said was I wanted to say that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah.
You did that. You did.
What can I say?
Well, here's the thing. Either way, I got to tell you, do what you got to do, brother. You know what I'm saying? You owned it. You owned it, and you owned it personally. God bless you for it. I would like to see if you have a reaction to Brian Collar. React.
Brian Collar. No, I haven't heard the latest. What's going on with Brian Collar?
Oh, you weren't listening to the
No,
show.
he didn't get to
He
catch
only
that.
heard the second hour.
Oh, he didn't hear that. He only heard the second hour. Brian Collar has now come out and officially said that he rejoined the Libertarian Party and that he is dedicating all of his time and effort to the Libertarian Party of Florida.
And he urges everyone to join him if you believe in freedom and liberty and the Constitution.
Yes.
Outstanding.
And that's how
outstanding. I've always liked Brian Collar. He's a great guy, and I'm glad to see him return to his core principles and his core convictions. I knew he'd come around sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. He's awesome, and glad to see it. And he was listening to the show, unlike yourself.
I wonder if our most recent meeting where we were all together had any influence on that.
I don't know. I haven't been able to ask him. I think it's probably a combination of things. Look, I think what's going on is the same thing. Like, I think our mindset or what we're seeing is not just us. I think other people are seeing it. And when you start putting everything together, I think that you come to that conclusion. I think that the numbers this week, that poll that came out this week, I think has a lot to do with it as well, though. You know, to see that there's 22% of us out there, that's a big thing.
And I finally had a chance to sit down and read the article that you put on 1787 Network about that. And I got to say, good job, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Spot on.
Yeah, no, it was very, it's good, man. Again, I'm feeling really happy about where we're at right now. Again, our numbers aren't where they need to be, but if we know that all we got to do is go out there and grab them. I mean, not grab them. That insinuates that we're going to be snatching people up. But if we go out there and ask people to join, the simple fact of asking, I think, is going to be enough. I think people are going to go back and go, man, this was way too easy. Like, there's something wrong here. Like, well, maybe we're in trouble or something. I think that's what's going to happen at the end of the day. You know, look.
Actually,
go ahead.
You know, I think you're downplaying it because I know you, and I think you probably lean more towards a libertarian policy of rendition, where we just black bag these people and force them in the Libertarian Party.
I'm not saying I don't have sites around the state of Florida that are the sites that I use for this. I'm not saying that at all. I don't like your definition. And for those of you that are part of that grouping, Adrian is now one of them. So go ahead and grab that up. Go ahead. Are you at your house right now, Mr. Wiley?
No, I'm going to go hang out with Grady Peeler, so I know I'm safe.
Because we're going nowhere near that.
Oh, man. Unbelievable.
Maybe he can listen hard to what you say so he can completely spin it into something else later on.
That's true. Very, very true. Very, very true.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure at some point this conversation will be spun in a completely different direction. But
yes, that's all right, though. That is quite
it
all right.
It is, in all seriousness, all joking aside, it is truly amazing. And, we've all been libertarians for a long time. I've been a libertarian far longer than both you guys. And I can tell you,
only because of your age. That's not fair.
Well, yeah, I've got some years on you guys, but regardless, I can tell you that it is amazing what a positive thing that libertarian is to the voters these days. Mm-hmm. And I go places, and one of the first questions I'm asked, "Are you a Democrat or Republican?" I say neither. I'm a libertarian. And that changes people's entire perspective. It's like, oh, that's wonderful. Tell me more. Or some people flat out say, after I tell them I'm a libertarian, oh, you've got my vote, then that's all I needed to hear.
Yes.
So it really is. There has been a continental shift in a very short period of time. And I think finally time. America is finally ready for a third party that is based on constitutional principles and the concept that government doesn't own us. And it's the 2014 election, and perhaps even the 2013 election in District 13 here in Pinellas County could very well be a benchmark of things, future things to come. We'll just have to see how it goes. But the reaction that people give to the Libertarian Party these days is amazingly positive, and I'm sure you guys are seeing that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going on in a lot of different places, and like I said, I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow. I think tomorrow's going to be a fun day. I think we're going to start at 9:30 till about noon. Do that, and then head down to the gun show over in
Polk County.
In Polk County, go help out at that booth for a little while. Make it a all around pretty good Saturday.
Oh, you're going to be there as well. Outstanding.
Well, yeah, but we're going to do the show here in the morning. Not the show. We're going to walk around in the morning here, and then from here we're going to be going over there to go help out at that area.
The Libertarian Party of Polk County.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be there on Sunday about noon or 1 o'clock. I've got a meeting in Polk County with a group that is concerned about the Lake Okeechobee runoff into the inlets, Indian River and St. Lucie Inlet. So I'm meeting with them in Polk County, and but about noon or 1 o'clock, I will be at the Preppers. What is it? The Preppers Expo in Lakeland.
It's like a preparedness expo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So, looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Hey, we're getting ready to end the show here, Mr. Wiley. We do appreciate you calling in. Did you like?
Wait a second, Alex. If you're saying we're getting ready to end the show, that should mean you have about 5 minutes left.
3 minutes.
Back me up, Danielle and Greg.
We're at this point where he said it and both of us didn't even look at each other. Like we both looked away, like at a wall. Like don't look.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later.
Hold on a second.
We'll be able to connect this weekend.
Hold on a second here. I got a question for you there, tough guy. I had one more before we were going to let you go. Did you hear Danielle's fairy tale version of the Good Sheriff Nick Finch story?
The fairy tale? I must have missed that part. I wasn't able to catch all the show today. I was engaging in commerce.
All right. Danielle, tell him some of the names of some of the people that were involved, because we had the Good Sheriff Nick Finch.
And then we had Deputy Fussy Pants.
Deputy Fussy Pants. Yeah, that's the guy that did the arresting.
We had Matlock.
Matlock was the attorney representative.
He knows Matlock. Who was the guy that he arrested?
By the way, I have to say that the Deputy Fussy Pants was sporting a serious handlebar mustache.
Should we call him the Pringles Man?
Hulk Hogan jealous.
Damn.
So we had the clerk, Matilda Merkin.
Yeah.
And then we had...
Old Willie Wumpkin was the man that was arrested.
Oh, yeah.
Old Willie Wumpkin.
Old Willie Wumpkin was the guy they arrested.
The evil Governor Skeletor.
Yes. And Willie Meggs was actually Maximus Corruptus. Corruptus. Yes, Maximus Corruptus.
Darth Corruptus.
Well, we changed it to Maximus.
I got to tell you, that trial was the biggest joke I've ever seen. The prosecution was pathetic. I was up there for the trial all day on this past Tuesday. And it was comical. I mean, I thought a lot of people were going to get charged with contempt just for laughing at the prosecution. But my one regret is I didn't get the opportunity to tell Willie Meggs in person that if I'm elected, he's fired.
Oh.
There you go. Well, now you've said it. I hope Willie Meggs gets a copy of this. Your job is in jeopardy with a wily governorship, and it should be. It should actually be in jeopardy with what we currently have. They're just too pathetic to do what's right.
Exactly.
Hear, hear.
All right, Adrian, WileyForGovernor.com. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see you guys. Take care.
Thanks.
All right, good show. Exciting things happening in the last hour. You never know. We are keeping up to speed on what is going on. And
breaking news.
It took me till 5 minutes before the show to hit Terry Richardson's diary.
I know.
So that's always a good thing. You know it was a good show when it takes you that long to get to Terry Richardson's diary. So, beautiful. Nice. Gonna burn this thing down. You GOP people, you Democrat people, we're coming! We're coming with numbers, and we're gonna take your criminal asses out! You're listening to Liberty Underground.